Oh, these are so much louder than the old
I'm
ones.
just,
much louder.
I'm just trying to help you test your new cans, man.
They work. I'm relatively sure that soundbite just did something to me internally as a person.
Well, if you notice, I'm just playing stuff with treble because I want you to test, because the treble is the thing that hurts.
No, we're good. We don't need to play. I don't think we need any of those. At least either of those two bites. I think those two. Yeah. Should have seen that one coming about a quarter mile away. Ladies, gentlemen, boys, girls, welcome in. The Friday edition of the Rob Brown radio program starts right now. This is the Fan Upstate. Welcome in, my dudes, my dudettes, my amigos, my amigettes. It is spectacular, as always, to have you. I hope that your week has just gone swimmingly and that you are ready for whatever today has to bring. I know what it has to bring over the next 4 hours. Just the most electrifying sports talk entertainment radio program, maybe anywhere, ladies and gentlemen. I'm so glad to have you. My name is Rob Brown, on the other side of the metaphorical glass today. The guy in charge of not just this radio program, but every radio program that you have ever heard anywhere at all that you have enjoyed, and none of the ones that you haven't. He is the great one, Lonzo, here on a Friday morning. Good morning, sir.
Lonzo is a superstar.
Yep.
Especially on a Friday.
Friyay?
No.
I think I like it. I think it grew on me yesterday. I do.
Yeah, but from whence does it come?
Skrilla.
No.
Pops in the chat every Friday.
Yeah, but I think it came from somewhere else. I'm not going to act like he doesn't have creative license over it. Maybe he does, but I don't think I think it came from a show.
From who?
From a show.
Oh, I thought you said from Michelle. I was like, who's Michelle? Good on Michelle. Oh, Michelle trademarked that.
I am sorry. Let me WW enunciate. I believe it came from a show.
That's why you're hanging with chicks all night long.
Yeah.
We have got, speaking of a show lined up for you today, ladies and gentlemen. A ton of stuff that we need to get into. A couple of games last night in the association saw a couple of teams' season come to its end. The New York Knicks were up 28-9 on the Philadelphia 76ers. The Sixers came storming back. They end up in the fourth quarter actually taking a lead away from the New York Knicks. And then Jalen Brunson did Jalen Brunson things. Dante DiVincenzo did Dante DiVincenzo things. And just like that, the New York Knicks find themselves in the driver's seat with the dub. Ball game over, series over. The New York Knicks head to Philly and walk out winners, sending the 76ers back to Cancun again. I'm sure that if I put in the time, I could go find whatever excuse Joel Embiid made up for it last night. I'm sure there's got to be one that he tossed around somewhere in there. But, yeah, the Sixers had every shot to win that game. It just didn't. A lot of missed opportunities late. They kept trying to force the two-man game, which I did not understand why you're trying to force the two-man game when the Knicks have a three-man game that's going exceptionally well. I don't get it. We're going to talk about that game later on.
You mean the best three-man game of all time?
Oh, God.
I saw your social media.
You know, like, you know what social media needs? I want to create a social media platform. There needs to be a new social media platform. And when you type your little thing up in the little thing, when you're ready to post something on the internet, what it should do is one of two things. Either A, it should put you on a 5-minute timer before that thing posts, right? Like you click post and it's like, all right, 5, 4:59, 4:58, and it gives you 5 minutes to really think about if you want to say that dumb thing before you say that dumb thing in front of the world. Or the second thing, and I know this is possible. This is coming down the pipe. There should be an AI, not to fact check you, right? Not an AI that's like, well, your figures are wrong here, your numbers are wrong here, your timeline's wrong here.
Yeah, we have Chris for that. So
right.
Yeah.
There are plenty of us who like doing that job in real life. There should be an artificial intelligence that reads your post, whatever it is, before you send it. And it goes, hello, John. I'm just stopping by to let you know that your take here is dumb as hell. And you shouldn't post it publicly.
Are you saying Threads doesn't do that?
I don't know. I'm not going to lie. I don't know. What I do know is that last night, Nate Silver rose to prominence a handful of years ago. He really got his start in politics. He's a data analyst. He looks at numbers and figures and trends and history and yada, yada, yada. And he was making prognostications. He was one of the guys going into the election of 2016. He was one of the guys that was on Twitter like, everybody writing Donald Trump off is real dumb. Like the numbers, statistically, numbers-wise, this guy's absolutely got a shot to win this election. And about half the country was like, yeah, nah, he doesn't. No, he doesn't. He's a goofball. He's a criminal. He's a celebrity. He's a criminal. Whatever they were saying. About half the country was like writing this cat off. Nate Silver was on there going, yeah, no. This guy's going to win. Like this guy's got every metric, every trend in his favor. He's going to win. And then about 2 years after that, he started to move over to sports, which is great. Again, like you've listened to the show more than 10 minutes. You know that I love sports data. I love numbers in sports. I like breaking sports down to the numbers because numbers don't lie. Abso-damn-lutely. And I don't apologize for it. That's how I analyze the bets that I'm going to make. That's how I analyze the picks that I'm going to make on air. Like I know that there are other elements of sports. There are things you cannot measure. You cannot measure when a dude is going to put his head down and just go get it.
Are you so number centric that it slows you down? That you have to think about the numbers before you speak sometimes?
Yes, 100%. The worst thing about being a big numbers in sports guy is that I'm real dumb. And I acknowledge that. I know I say that all the time, like in a joking measure. It's not. When it comes to numbers, I'm a dumb guy. If I was good at numbers, I would have been a scientist for sure. But I'm a dumb guy. So I analyze the numbers, but like sometimes I have to sit there and carry the 2 and move over the point. Okay, 2.2. I'm real dumb. But at the same time, the numbers will give you a better indicator about the probability of something. And that's why I enjoyed Nate Silver for a long time. But a couple of years ago, Nate decided that he wanted to start giving takes as opposed to just breaking down the numbers. And don't get me wrong, it's the internet. Everybody's got the right to do everything that they want to do. He threw up last night, and I quote, is there currently a better big three in the NBA than Brunson, Hart, DiVincenzo? And it's like, yeah, there's a bunch of them. There's a bunch. Jokic, Murray, MPJ is better. I said Tatum, Brown, Derek White is better. I think you could really pick almost any combination, Tatum, Brown, and any other Celtic. Jokic, Murray, and any other Celtic. Shai.
Jokic, Murray, and any other Nugget.
Any other Nugget. Yeah, that's what I meant. I would say Ant-Man, Cat, and Rudy Gobert are a better big three than what the Knicks have. And you can say Luka, Kyrie, PJ Washington, I would say might be a better big three. SGA, Chet, and J. Will, a better big three. Kawhi, PG, and Harden when they're on. By the way, Kawhi out for Game 6. Congrats, Dallas. Giannis, Dame, and Chris Middleton, better big three. The point here is sometimes when you want to say a thing, it's a real good idea to just like take a minute. Just think, just Google, just read, just take a minute. Maybe walk outside, get some fresh air. Because sometimes people say dumb things on the internet and you can't let that go. You know, you can't let that go. Sometimes you got to get called out for it. Anyway, the big three, the best big three in basketball, Jalen Brunson, Hart, and Dante DiVincenzo are on their way to the second round of the NBA playoffs. Took the punch last night. Resilient team last night. 28-9, they're up in the first quarter. I sent a tweet about it. Because my man PJ Glasser from the BetQL Network told me once about the narrative bet. And I will say this is one of those areas that I kind of walk away from my regular philosophy. Great one. He taught me about the narrative bet. He said sometimes you bet on a great story as opposed to the numbers, right? The numbers last night said Philly wins that game. Every number, every metric said Philly wins that game. It's at home. They played better home. Record was better home. They averaged more points at home. They averaged more points at home than the Knicks had been scoring in the series. Like every metric last night said the Knicks go in there. But the narrative was the most 76ers thing that they could do to their fan base would be to win game 5 on the road in New York at Madison Square Garden at the Mecca, one of the most notoriously difficult places to play and win a basketball game. It would be to come back from behind, win that game, take a game 6 back to Philly, and then lose. And last night I bet the narrative. I'm like, yep, that would be a very New Orleans sports thing. It might as well be a Philly sports thing. And rode with the Knicks last night, and the Knicks got it done. Didn't have any, scratch that. I was going to say they didn't have any issue winning that game. They were up 28-9. The Sixers actually got a lead in the fourth quarter. Just playing good ball, man. Just playing good ball. That was it. It was that simple. And then late in that game, I kind of felt like the philosophy of ball that got the Sixers back into that contest, I felt like they got away from it a little bit. I felt like they got away from let's play within the two-man game. Let's play from Joel Embiid outward. And then it turned into a bunch of guys trying to play individual basketball. And it got ugly for me late. And that's when it's still real good game, still real close game. But that's when the Knicks, I thought, were able to kind of put their thumb down and hold Philly down to win that game ultimately. Good game. I mean, honestly, it was a good game. It was an entertaining game for sure. Texas said that silver take sounds more like satire, i.e., look at how far the Knicks are without a big three to do it. Maybe it might be.
You know, all I hear is, so do you really believe in the Knicks?
I kind of do after the series.
Do you?
I kind of do. I really thought that if there's a threat to Boston in the East, it was the winner of this series, and it's the Knicks. And I'll tell you why. Because Jalen Brunson can go put 41 through the net any given night. Jalen Brunson elevated this team. If Jalen Brunson, who, by the way, how do you think the Dallas Mavericks feel right now? They could have had Jalen Brunson playing with Luka Doncic and Kyrie Irving right now. They let Jalen Brunson walk so they could keep their options open. Now, granted, Dallas is in the playoffs. Dallas is playing pretty good basketball, and I think Dallas is going to end up winning the series with Kawhi out for Game 6. But when Jalen Brunson turned the corner that he turned in the last few weeks and became this last few weeks, really this season, and became this dude that he has become, I absolutely do. Because even though they don't have their big man, even though they're without a bona fide 5, that was never their game in the first place. When you lose a guy like Giannis, you're cooked because your game's Giannis. When you lose a guy like Kawhi, the 3-man game becomes a 2-man game. You got to play a whole new style of basketball. The Knicks didn't have to change anything. The Knicks didn't have to worry when Julius Randle went out with that shoulder injury. They didn't have to go, oh no, what are we going to do? They don't play outside in. They don't play inside out. They play outside in. The game starts with Brunson, Hart, and DiVincenzo on the outside, and then it goes inside to Julius Randle. Like, to me, and I've said this before, at its core in basketball, an offensive set is designed it should be designed to make a defense move. If they're playing compact, to make them extend outwards. If they're playing outwards, to make them compact. And depending on what they're doing is how your offense out of run. If you come down the floor, they're picking you up at half court, and they're playing an extended man set that's got them with hands on faces outside of the three-point line. Now my 5 becomes my guy. I don't care what it takes. You get it to the black. You get it to the paint. You get it underneath on the block. You make that guy the centerpiece, because what I need is a good post player, a decent post player should be able to win offensively when he's one-on-one versus a post defender. Unless it's like Shaq down there, he should be able to win. And so I'm just going to go back to that over and over and over and over until the 5 guy looks out at the wing guys and goes, I need help. You guys got to come down to me. I'm getting killed down here. And then once the wing guys contract, now I've got the rest of the floor open. The flip side, the inverse. If they're going to pack everything down because they want to take Julius Randle out of the game, I need my outside guys. And I'm not saying knock down 33s in a game. I'm saying drive the ball into the paint. I'm saying they're going to give you a couple of feet inside the arc. Take that couple of feet, go into the heart, make that defense come out to you and open up the block. It's about moving the defense. And the Knicks are right now as good at doing that as anybody else in the NBA. And I think that's why they're moving on. We're going to talk more about the NBA playoffs because we got a couple more games tonight where teams are on the line. We'll talk some Stanley Cup later on. Your My Hour Nashville Predators at the house for a Game 6 against Vancouver. They are down 3-2. They have got to win this one and go get a road dub. We'll talk about that. Dallas at Vegas tonight. The Golden Knights, same situation as the Preds. They are hosting tonight, but they can be eliminated tonight. So we'll talk some NHL hockey. We got some NASCAR up at Kansas Motor Speedway and a massive series for the Atlanta Braves on the road at the Dodgers. I want to get into that series and more, all coming up today on the Rob Brown Show. Ladies and gentlemen, happy Friyay. It is the Fan Upstate. I'll forget eventually.
There's a movement on the internet for people to stop saying that. All the more reason for you to continue, I suppose.
Now, continuing to say it would make me a contrarian at that point.
I would think it would just make you a troll.
It's amazing how frequently those two terms are.
Probably, but can you be one without the other? I'm being sent work already this morning. That's if you see a look on my face, it's like, really?
Miss April, good morning. Welcome in. Thank you very much. It's my new flower shirt. I like my flower shirt.
Yeah,
flower shirt.
There's a problem with that. There's a phrase early on in the first few seasons of Walking Dead where look at the flowers. And now every time I look at your shirt, I think I look at the flowers, and I'm wondering if someone's standing behind me. So, I mean, I
like the flower shirt. It was Miss April. This was at Target yesterday for $17. I was like, yoink. Me and Keon Coleman, we're out here value shopping, Miss April.
So I was just told to add a certain number of 80s up-tempo songs.
For here?
No.
Oh.
No, we're not. For a particular show.
Gotcha.
Yeah. That doesn't fit
the tone?
No, the entire station. This station. Yeah.
Was this
this is for a new show. And I actually had to send an email up tempo like Walking on Sunshine or should I add some rock in there? I needed to know if it's pop or rock or a mix of both. Do I add in some She's My Cherry Pie?
Warrant, baby.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know.
Looks so good, bring it to.
I was also told to add in a little bit of 70s, and I'm very tempted to add in just one band that I know the boss doesn't like.
Can I tell you?
There's a band the boss doesn't like that everyone else does, and I'm not going to say who it is.
I need to know.
Turn the thing off, and I'll tell you.
Literally a 5-second break. Come on. They're great. They're great.
How many times I've been told we need to take that out?
No,
And
they're great.
And then I just never did.
As a brief aside, Grand Funk Railroad was awesome.
Oh yeah, I forgot. That
They
you
were
went to that.
awesome.
How
I
many
expected not much. The lead guitarist,
demographically? How was the crowd?
Courtney and I brought the average age of the room down about 4 years by walking in. It was an old crowd.
I was more thinking.
Here's what was funny. Here's what was funny.
Was it a melting pot?
No, it was all old white people.
Okay, I was gonna say, were you
All
the
white
only
people.
salt in
No.
the meal?
No, it was all old white people. Grand Funk Railroad is a rock and roll band. It's and it was.
Yeah,
it
I
was,
know who it is.
It was
I know who it
old
is.
white people.
It's
And so-
they did what? We're an American band. Yeah,
was
yeah.
their big one. What was the other one? I mean, there's like 3 or 4 that everybody knows. There's a bunch. That
Here's the thing. For some reason, I was thinking Bootsy Collins. That's a totally
a different person.
totally different band.
Oh, some kind of wonderful.
Yeah.
Yeah, she is. So we got 2 teams eliminated from the NBA's playoff brackets last night. The Milwaukee Bucks go down despite the best efforts of one Dame Lillard. The Bucks get got by the Indiana Pacers. The Pacers were one of the teams that I said I was very interested in coming into this series. They entered as the 6th seed, Milwaukee the 3 seed. There was some level of concern about Giannis Antetokounmpo, but Giannis never made it back. The discussion going into this bracket, going into this series, was, oh, Giannis is going to miss the first couple of games, but he'll be back. Giannis never made it back. Dame, I think you got to give credit to, because for a guy who has, without saying it, made it relatively clear that he does not want to be there. And who the hell would? It's Milwaukee. All due respect to Milwaukee, you got beer and what?
Well, after you just said who would want to be there, then you said all due respect.
Yeah.
I don't think you.
All due respect, what's in Milwaukee? Beer. They named their baseball team the Beer Makers. Just so we're clear. I suspect they got some cheese. They got cheese stuff in Milwaukee and Wisconsin, right?
Just go back and watch Laverne and Shirley. I mean, because that was based in. Do you know what Laverne and Shirley is?
I know what it is, but
Okay.
I'm also, I'm a fan of the old TV.
Well, it was based in Milwaukee,
Never-
so maybe you can find out what happened in Milwaukee in the 70s. As far as presently, I don't know.
One of the few shows I never watched, actually, to be honest with you. Now, I'll tell you this. I'll go to Milwaukee. I'd like to go to Milwaukee in the summertime.
Why? No, who says I want to go to Milwaukee? No one says that.
I'll go anywhere. Like I said, it is, in fairness, it's the beer capital of America. That's all the hook I need. All right. Beer and baseball in the summertime. That's all the hook I need.
Although Alice Cooper did say it's based on the word Milwaukee, if you remember Wayne's World,
I do remember Wayne's World.
which was, I guess, also in Milwaukee. Was it? I think it might have been.
I don't know. But the point here is Dame made it very clear he did not want to be in Milwaukee. Remember what happened with him in Portland? He wanted out. He thought he was going to end up in Miami, was the rumor. And then the Bucks came out swinging with a trade offer, and Portland was like, yeah. See, a lot of teams, and I appreciate this, like when the Bears let Justin Fields go, they kind of let Justin Fields call a shot, right? Like, we know this sucks. We're sorry about it, but it's a business. We got to do what we got to do. We're going to let you call your shot. And Justin Fields, again, this is the report. Justin Fields reportedly picked Pittsburgh. That's where he wanted to be. And Chicago was like, word, okay, gone. Have fun. Good luck. By the way, the Steelers, according to a couple of players, are reportedly thinking about letting Justin Fields return kicks. I would want right back out of Pittsburgh. This was a mistake. I shouldn't be here. Hey, Chicago, can I come back and back up Caleb Williams? Returning kicks? You brought that guy? Come on. There's no way, right? There's no way. Unless Justin Fields himself was like, Coach, I want to return kicks, What a dumbass decision that'd be.
You know, I bet Atlanta is looking to pick up another quarterback.
Ain't got enough on the roster yet. Joey says, definitely give Laverne and Shirley a go. It's a great show. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I'm going to get a text from the Madre soon saying the same thing.
You'll love that guy Squiggy. I'm just saying.
Again, I love the old shows, man. There's very few. I don't like. All right. Anyway, so yeah, I think you got to give a little credit to Dame because I think it would have been pretty easy without Giannis for Dame to shut it down, right? The Bucks came out and got almost a bit of a shock win in game 1 without Dame. Pacers came back and won game 2 and 3. And I thought at that point, and by the way, the game 3 score was overtime. So a very good game. But I thought after that one, all right, they're cooked, right? They're done. They're going to shut it down. They suddenly find themselves down 2-1. And at that point, that was around the time that the rumor started circulating that if Giannis was going to play, it would not be until round 2. And then Dame just kind of kept grinding. They ended up losing game 4, 126-113. Bucks come out, dominate the Pacers, 115-92, except for they didn't have Dame in that game. That was the Chris Middleton game where Middleton went off for, 38 or whatever. Dame comes back. Bucks give it a go last night. Here's my question. Great one. You blow up the Bucks. Do you go, all right, we gave it a shot. It failed miserably. We got bumped by the 6th seed in the opening round. It's the only series, apparently, that's not going to go chalk. Do you blow this thing up, or do you chalk this up to, yeah, if Giannis was out there, it'd have been different?
Well, according to you, people don't want to play in Milwaukee, so the players will blow it up, right? Trying to get out of there.
I mean, let's be clear. I don't want to play in Milwaukee, and Dame don't want to play in Milwaukee. I mean, there's plenty of people who would be just fine in Milwaukee. Just so we're clear, I also wouldn't want to play in Buffalo, New York, or Kansas City, Missouri, or Toronto, Canada, if it's a winter sport. I don't want to play anywhere where there's less than 0 degrees any day of the year. That should never be a thing. I don't want to play. If I have to go, unless I can do it from my
mostly
house.
The northern portion of the United States.
Yeah, I said that once.
Well, the world, actually, because, Canada's not in the United States. North America. Northern North America, Rob is not interested.
I do kind of want to try it. I do. There's a weird part of me that's like, the older I get, it should be the opposite, right? Like when I was young, I should really want to live in a city. I've still tried to convince the fiance, let's move downtown. Like, let's live in the heart of downtown. She's like, absolutely damn not. No chance. I want to live in a city just to do it. I've never done it before. This is the biggest city I've ever lived in.
All right,
and I don't even live in Greenville.
Coming from me, I don't know how much you care about it, but yeah, it's not that. It's not.
Yeah, but yeah. I'm going to say, and I don't mean this any kind of way, but like, you and I live our lives very different.
Right. That's why I said coming from me. But I grew up in a big city. Yeah, so
I did not.
How
many people went to your high school? Give or take. Class size.
Well, not that many, but there are a lot of high schools. So it's not like it's like around here where like one school is for like 4 counties or something. I mean, there are high schools within 5 minutes of each other. So, I mean, because there's so much population, there are a lot of high schools.
I lived in a military town, but
plus not that many people graduated from a high school. So you can't really, or survived. So there's that too.
Wow.
That's unfortunate, but it is literally the thing.
I grew up in a small town, military town, wasn't that big. So this is Greenville, South Carolina, is the biggest place I've ever lived in. And before anybody goes, wait, Robbie said you lived in Jacksonville. First off, Jacksonville sucks. And second off, Jacksonville is spread out over about 1,000 miles. So unless you are in the middle of downtown, which is a soulless place, you never really feel like you're in a big place when you live in Jacksonville. It's just 1-story strip malls friggin' everywhere. All right? It's a soulless place. Anyway, point here is I'd give Milwaukee a shot. It's the beer capital of the world. Okay, well, beer capital of the United States.
I would say, although he has lived in a big city, I think, I would wait about 6 months and talk to Mark Ryan and see how things are going.
He showed me where he lives on a map. It's not in Detroit.
Yeah, it's on the outskirts. I saw it on social media.
He's totally a suburb guy.
He is.
He's a suburb guy.
Well, he already dresses like it, so yeah. I mean, he does. That's not really a crack. He dressed like that the entire time. If you see him in a t-shirt, it looks weird. I saw him in a t-shirt. It was very odd.
So my question here is, do you blow up the Bucks? And the answer to me is absolutely not. The answer to me is you built a very good team. The answer to me is if Giannis is healthy, this is a different series. Does not mean the Bucks are going to win the series. Does mean it is a very different series. And this is another illustration of why I get frustrated when I point out, they didn't have so-and-so. Well, it's just an excuse. No, it's not. It's a reason. It's a reason. If a starter is down, your team is worse. And I don't care who the starter is. That starter is the starter for a reason. If it was anybody else could fill in that gap, you would rotate starters to keep everybody fresh. But that's not how it works. That guy's the best at doing that thing. Even if he's real bad at it, he's the best on that team at doing that thing. But I look at what the Milwaukee Bucks built, and the only reason you blow it up is if Dame is done. And even if Dame is done, I still don't know that I blow it up so much as I trade Dame and maybe another piece, maybe a Patrick Beverly. Did you see what this clown did last night?
I keep hearing about it, and I haven't seen the video yet. But I believe a basketball was hurled at an audience member.
Yeah. So a basketball made its way into the crowd that was behind the bench. And the ball ended up dropping back to the fans, and Pat Bev looked over at the fan that ended up with the basketball. The fan threw the basketball. When I say threw, Zoe, I mean a soft chest pass, like an arcing chest pass, right? Like it obviously, I'm putting it in your DMs now so you can take a look at it. It was obviously not like an aggressive pass back to Pat Bev. It was just kind of like an arcing chest pass. And Pat Bev, for whatever reason here, in fact, I'll throw it up on the stream at facebook.com/thefanupstate, twitter.com/thefanupstate, on Twitch or YouTube, The Rob Brown Show, on the YouTube, The Fan Upstate. Here's the angle. You've got the ball that's made its way back into the stands. You can see it right there. Well, there's actually the shot. So Pat, okay. I didn't know there was actually a first throw. So Pat Bev, I didn't see this part last night. I just saw the second part, right? So Pat Bev's on the bench. I didn't know this. Pat Bev throws a basketball at the crowd, beams a lady in the head, asks for the ball back, and then throws it again. He beams a lady in the head with the basketball, right? Let's. In fact, again, on the stream.
Is it the person he was aiming for?
I don't think so. I think he's aiming at the cat that is wearing the sleeves, the yellow sleeves and the blue vest looking thing with his arms crossed in the front row, right? I think he's aiming at that cat. He sails it over his head and he beams a lady in the second row right in the noggin. I mean, right in the ear. She covers up. The dude that he threw the ball at gets the ball back and tosses it to Bev. And then Bev throws it a second time right back at him. And then you got Roid Rage Bro. Look at Roid Rage Bro. Can you see him in the tank right behind the Gatorade bottles? Roid Rage Bro was ready to go. Chad was ready to throw with Pat Bev.
He probably hit his mama. So
maybe.
You don't want to hit someone's mama.
I'm going to go ahead. You ready for the funnest part about this? I'm not going to play the audio here because I just found this as well. Apparently, in the locker room after the game, a female reporter was asking Pat Bev a question, and he told her that she's not allowed to ask him questions because she doesn't subscribe to his podcast. What a jackass, dude.
That's pretty funny.
Jackass.
That's pretty funny. But
it's funny if you just won, you're goofing off in the locker room. Not after you beamed not one but two fans in the noggin with a basketball. Which, by the way, assault. Today's word is assault. I actually think it's battery. Anyway, doesn't matter. You can't, Pat, you're a jackass. Back after this on the Rob Brown Show in the Fan Upstate.
Cut yourself off. That counts.
I think I'm still up one, though.
You are. We're only an hour one.
right, stream. How we doing? Where's everybody at? How y'all doing?
It's 6:30. Everybody sleep.
Everybody asleep. Ooh, we get Gavin Stone tonight. That's
Coming up a series last weekend against Louisville, they took 2 of 3 from the Cardinals. South Carolina on the road, they'll face the Missouri Tigers. That series begins tonight. The Gamecocks, who are ranked 15th, beat East Tennessee State on Wednesday 15-2. Wofford will start a 3-game series with Gardner-Webb this weekend. Tonight and Sunday's game will be in Boiling Springs. Saturday's game will be in Spartanburg. Download the Odyssey app and search The Fan Upstate. Then listen anywhere on your phone. I'm Tony Desiri, and that's your Sports Flash on The Fan Upstate.
Up to the minute, upstate traffic. All freeways are running clear on this early Friday morning. Downtown Greenford has got an issue East North Street and East Stone Avenue. Moderate congestion there from Lady Place. And a look at Spartanburg, the Cornell and Cornell traffic count shows a tie-up on 29 Wade Hampton at I-26. From the News Talk 98.9 WORD Traffic Center, I'm Bill Brooks on The Fan Upstate.
This is arguably the best time of the year. Hiking, golfing, just generally enjoying life. Look outside. It is best right now, which also means it is the worst time to be held back by joint pain. Hey, it's Rob Brown. Do not go through the spring and summer and miss out on doing the things you love to do. Instead, call QC Kinetics right now and find out how they can help by using your body zone.
No. Aha. Is that rock?
That's pop.
By the way, I'm joking. I know.
Okay. I mean, I figured, but I can't do it right now.
I'm still adding it anyway.
Is that?
I'm still adding it anyway.
Hell yeah.
It's just copy and paste. He wants a folder, so I'm just doing it now. Which AC/DC song would you add?
Back in Black. As a radio return, it's good.
You're right, but I don't know. I gotta stop because I would have added something else, but
Hell's Bells.
it's not for me. Well, yeah, that's great. It also depends on the show. So, Thunderstruck, but some people are distracted by even in this bed, it's still got the thing in it. So.
My career as a jingle singer is not dead yet.
I would have actually went with For Those About to Rock, but that's just the beginning of that song is so cool, especially to talk over. But it's too again.
The first song that I used as a intro for my first show was Long Way to the Top. If you want to rock and roll.
Ace of Base, that was 90s, wasn't it?
Yes. I saw the sign and it opened up my eyes. I saw the sign.
Mostly I'm going to add stuff that's going to be disapproved. So I can say, oh, you don't like this person? It's not often that you get to have musical discuss. Well, I guess anytime I walk over there, but having musical discussions with people is just awesome.
Last night, there was a kid behind me who was probably 24, 25 years old, singing every word to every song. Songs I didn't know.
Is that weird that you called him a kid?
He's 24. Yes,
I know. That's just, I mean, that
what
just.
A kid 10 years ago. 10 years ago was full ass adult. I was a kid. And I asked him after the show, I'm like, bro, how do you know all this? And he's like, I don't know, man. I just love old music. And I was like, dope. Love it. The kids are all right. The Rob Brown Show carries on. It's the Fan Upstate. We're going to talk about this NCAA settlement news that Pete Thamel put out yesterday, coming up in the next hour of the show, because the number that was attached to a potential settlement is actually a little bit higher than I predicted it was going to be. So we'll talk about that coming up in the second hour of the show. We're talking NBA basketball right now as the first round coming to its conclusion. We do know the Timberwolves and the Nuggets have moved on. Over in the West, that is a 2-3 matchup. Over in the East, the Celtics have moved on. They may or may not end up knowing their opponent this evening, as the Cavs and the Magic will go at 7 p.m. Orlando trails Cleveland 3-2. So a Cavs win would move the 4 seed on down to the bottom half of the Eastern Division, or Eastern Conference, pardon me. The Pacers get it done last night over the Bucks. The Knicks get it done last night over the 76ers. Both of those teams have won their series 4-2, and those two teams will match up in the next round. The Clips and the Mavs go tonight at 9:30. Dallas leads that series 3-2, and Kawhi Leonard has been bumped out of the lineup with a minor injury, but he will not go tonight in Game 6. So a short-handed LA Clippers squad up against Luka, who got hot last game. Go ahead and give me the Mavs. They are 8.5-point favorites tonight. And, of course, the Thunder swept my Pelicans last week. It feels like freaking 3 years ago. Pelly's bumped by the Thunder. So the 1 seed, the 2 seed, the 3 seed have moved on. And it appears that if it goes the way the numbers say it's going to go, the Mavs will move on. So you have 1, 2, 3, 5 in the West. Over in the East, you will have 1, 6, 2, and then the winner of the 4, 5. Orlando is a 3.5-point favorite at home this evening to knock off Cleveland, if you're paying attention to the numbers. So there is, great one, 2 very interesting series. I don't think it matters who draws up with the Celtics. The Celtics win series 2. But it was never series 2 I was worried about with Beantown. It's the Eastern Conference Finals that I was worried about for Beantown. And I really thought the threat was going to be whoever won the Knicks-Sixers series. And I know Philly was a 7 seed. I know they were a play-in team. I got it. They were a play-in team because Joel Embiid missed like half the season. If Joel Embiid doesn't miss half the season, they're probably the 3 seed. They're probably playing maybe the Pacers in round 1. Everything's a little bit different. Embiid comes back, but he never really came back. He came back from the knee for the play-in tournament. And if you flash back to that play-in tournament, Joel ain't looked great in that play-in tournament. Now, we also found out a little bit after that he was also struggling with Bell's palsy. And so again, we talked about it earlier in the week. I don't need to bring it back up long term. But I will remind you all that about 2 years ago, I got Bell's palsy. Left side of my face did not work. Made it real tough to do radio when half your mouth don't want to cooperate. I can't imagine. And again, the worst part, it was not even, for me, the worst part was the not being able to talk thing. Made talk radio kind of challenging.
It was not good for any, but you soldiered through it. So,
Talk's harsh. It was real not good. Over on the other side, my eye didn't work. So I had to, about every 10 minutes, put drops in my eye to keep it moist, or I had to keep a headband on or an eye patch on. And I lost my depth perception by and large when that happened. I could either have both eyes out and have depth perception, but everything was a little bit blurry because that eye was not getting the attention it needed, or I could eye patch it up and everything was clear, but I had no depth perception. Can't imagine playing NBA basketball with that kind of issue. And from what I understand, Joel Embiid was kind of dealing with that kind of issue. So I thought, all right, once Bell's palsy's gone, he's going to be all right. But I think because he played such a different game in the last couple days of the regular season, the play-in tournament, and the first part of this series, that he wasn't really able to get back to it. He had a 50-burger in this series. Like, he wasn't bad by any stretch of the imagination. He wasn't bad by any stretch of the imagination, but he wasn't the dominant MVP that Philly, I think, needed him to be in that spot. So the Knicks move on, and to me, the Knicks are the biggest threat to the Boston Celtics. I'll tell you why I like Boston still. Even though I have been warning people Warned Ryan Horvat, tried to talk him off of it. Warned Cody Decker, tried to talk him off of it. It's hard for me to put money down on the Celtics winning the East because of the legacy, because of the fact that they've been to this spot a number of times and they have failed every time. Just like I bet the Pacers to win the first series, not because I thought they were odds on better than the Bucks. I bet the Pacers in the first series because Doc Rivers. And then, of course, they ended up leaving Giannis at home because of his busted wheel. And that just made it worse. But with Doc Rivers at the helm and no Giannis Antetokounmpo, they had no chance at all. The Knicks, to me, are the scariest team still in the East until the Celtics put them down because there's not much. They do not have a great inside game. They got Hartenstein down there who's playing well enough. But because the Knicks operate the way the Knicks operate, I don't really need a great 5. I need a good 5 because the strength of the Knicks is the 1, 2, 3. It's the 3 guard. It's DiVincenzo. It's Hart. It's Brunson. It's Brunson, then Hart, then DiVincenzo, if you want to put them in the right order. That's who I'm leaning on. Over on the other side, the other series that's very interesting outside of Pacers-Knicks. And by the way, I do think Pacers-Knicks is interesting. I think the Knicks are the better team, but I think it's an interesting matchup. Over on the other side of the equation, T-Wolves-Nuggets. Does this series hold appeal to you like it does to me? This is the most anticipated series.
Here's my problem.
Memory.
Here's my problem is I still think this thing's going chalk and it's going to be Celtics versus Nuggets. I know it's not chalk in the West, but I think it's Celtics Nuggets. And I think everything else is just like leading into getting beaten by one of those two teams.
I agree.
I mean, I want it to be interesting. And it's the other thing, once some people that you root for are out, then it's just trying to find an interest in certain things. And I know those two teams are, to me, the best two teams. I would like to see Dallas do something in the West just because I like Luka and I still kind of like Kyrie. Don't tell them.
I'm gonna have to sage this studio after
Don't
you
tell,
said that.
don't tell them. The Uncle Drew stuff's pretty funny.
It is. You're not wrong.
Yeah.
And
I also secretly believe that he's trolling everybody with the flat earth thing.
I think the world becomes a better place once you start to accept that some people really are dumb. Like once you accept some people really are idiots. As George Carlin once said, I want you to think of how dumb the average person is and then realize half the population's dumber than that. Like,
okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Anyway, so I would agree. I do think the Nuggets are the best team in the West. I have not backed off of that the entire time. I do think the Celtics are the best team in the East. I do think there is a team on both sides that present a very interesting challenge for those teams. I think the Timberwolves are that team in the West, and I think the Knicks are that team in the East. And I know I'm not going out on any particular limb by saying that, well, the 2 seed is right there with the 1 seed. Yeah, good job, Captain Obvious. Thank you very much. I appreciate the compliment. But
hey, man, good job. That's why your name's on the show.
Yeah, baby. I do think it is more about the way the Knicks play basketball being an interesting philosophical and tactical matchup against Boston. On the flip side, I think the way the Wolves are playing basketball is a very interesting contrast to the Denver Nuggets. The Nuggets are a team that if you don't watch them and you see like Jokic highlights, you might think plays inside out. They really don't. They really don't. Nikola Jokic can just throw the ball at the rim from anywhere on the floor and it goes in. Have you seen the compilation of ugly 3-point shots from Nikola Jokic? And yet they all go in? That man like falling over backwards. And it's more like a 2-hand overhand pass to the basket. And it goes in.
See, here's the thing. After watching all the things that Steph Curry does, how do you know Jokic doesn't practice that?
He might. But it's still unbelievable. It's one
He's
of those
got a
things,
hoop out by the horses, and he's just out there.
Just out there throwing overhand double passes.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. What I do know is the Timberwolves, to me, I do think match up with the Nuggets because I think they can wear Jokic out. That's going to be the strategy. We are going to have you chasing Cat around the floor. And to be honest, defensively, the Nuggets are a good defensive team. Who do they have that matches up with Jamal Murray with any level of consistency? Honestly, I think this series may have more to do with Jamal Murray than it does Nikola Jokic. And I think Nikola Jokic is the most, is it fair to say, best basketball player on earth because he can score from anywhere and also he's 7 feet tall and you can't teach that?
I don't think you can say it till LeBron retires.
I think you can say it. I think it's fair that Jokic not as good as LeBron in his prime, Jokic better than LeBron today. I still think LeBron's a great player. But if I asked you right now, which one of those two guys you want leading your team right now, it's hard for me not to say Nikola Jokic over LeBron. And y'all know I love me some Bron.
Is this one of those, if you had one game and one person and one shot, one game,
one opportunity.
Yeah. I'm trying to wipe the spaghetti off my shirt. I would, man.
I'm going Jokic, dude. He's got a more all-around complete game. No, that's not true. LeBron has a more all-around complete game. Jokic has a more dominant game today. Now, if you ask me, like, who do you want, 2014 Bron or 2023 Jokic, I'll go 2014 Bron. But 23 Jokic is the best basketball player in the association right now.
I guess I'm still going LeBron because I can't.
Can't turn off the fan.
Just for one game. I mean,
Lonzo puts the fan in the fan upstate.
Thank you. For a series, I might go with Jokic, but for one game, I think I'm going LeBron.
I still think I got to go Jokic. The man's a walking triple-double.
Because if LeBron's well rested and he's only playing one game, he's going to dominate that one game.
So is Jokic. He's a walking triple-double. Like, he is getting every point LeBron gets. He's getting every board LeBron. He's actually out-rebounding LeBron. And he gets the assist LeBron gets. And, oh, by the way, stop him. What are you going to do to stop him? You can't. You put a Shaq on him, he scores from the free throw line. You put a power forward on him to take that jumper away, he goes down to the block. Like, he's unstoppable. But even with that being said, I think Minnesota can beat the hell out of him. I think they can make the game all about Jamal Murray. And I think Jamal Murray has gotten enough experience and enough success that he can be the guy until the floor opens back up for Nikola Jokic. And as soon as the floor opens back up for Nikola Jokic, you go right back to him. But if I am the Timberwolves, I'm doing everything I can to turn this series into Ant-Man versus Jamal. Now, I don't know if you can do that because Jokic, even if you draw up a design to stop the guy, whether it's as a mid-range jumper guy or a guy down on the blocks, he can do the opposite. So he's going to get his. Can Cat match him? If Jokic has a 27-point night, can I get 27 out of Cat and turn it into who has a better night, Ant-Man versus Jamal Murray? Because if you can do that, if you can create that, then I actually think you've got a better all-around opportunity than anybody else. The Thunder, I really like the Thunder. I don't know if the Thunder necessarily are going to bring the guard play into this that can match up with the Nuggets the way that the Timberwolves do. The series is going to be great. Remember, the Thunder do not run. I mean, you got Shai playing as a point. He's a shooting guard to me. He runs the point, but he's a shooting guard. Shai is as responsible for points as anybody else on that offense is. Giddey, Dort, Jay Will, and Holmgren. Like, I love Chet, by the way. Rookie of the Year candidate if Victor Wembanyama isn't a freak of nature. He's the Rookie of the Year.
I like the name Dortch.
Dort?
Oh,
Lugens Dort?
Yeah, it's just a cool name.
I like Chet a lot. Rookie of the Year if Victor Wembanyama doesn't exist. Problem is, Wemby existed. Problem is, for Chet, Nikola exists, who's got him by about 70 pounds, the same height, and can play with Chet outside of the paint, which is how Chet killed everybody this year. I like the matchup for the Nuggets against the Thunder. I like it less against the Timberwolves. All right, we'll talk more about these series as we move on through the rest of the show. We got a lot more to get into coming up next. Water cooler cheat sheet. We'll talk about this NCAA settlement because Pete Thamel has an estimated number that I will give to you and more. It all comes up after Lonzo thrills, excites, tantalizes, and titillates you with his sports flash.
Wow, I picked the story I'm going to lead with, and then you have to mention it. I'm going to do it anyway. ESPN's Pete Thamel is reporting that if the NCAA settles the landmark House versus NCAA lawsuit, the price tag could be in the range of $2.7 billion. The report also claims that the settlement would come from the NCAA's national office, not from individual member schools or conferences. The NCAA declined to comment on the report. We'll be talking more about that in the next hour. University of Georgia head coach Kirby Smart is now the highest paid coach in college football after receiving a 2-year extension that runs through the 2033 season. Smart will become the first coach to be paid $13 million this season, pushing him past Clemson's Dabo Swinney, who will make $11 million this season. Make sure you tune in this afternoon from 3 to 7 p.m. for our brand new local show, Wire to Wire. Cole Bryson and Diesel, who's not here, it's just Cole, get you up to date on all the latest local and national sports news. Come on, man. Why didn't you say Jam Cam? Bonkum. Bonkum.
Hi, we're Comparing Insurance Agency. Right now you're thinking, Comparing? Never heard of them. We know. We also know that you have no idea that Comparing Insurance agents are local and provide expert advice. So to help it stick, we're going to say local agent 4 times in the next 15 seconds. Ready? Go. Our local agents know you and your community. Our local agents offer insurance from top carriers. Our local agents have minty fresh breath.
Yay.
Find us at comparinginsurance.com. Comparing Insurance Agency. Local agents, expert advice.
And there's number 4.
For complete rules on contests of this station, go to thefanupstate.com/rules. That's thefanupstate.com/rules.
It's bow time. Bow Sauce is back with bow changes. If you think you missed it, imagine how our Supremes must have felt. Our Supremes are already boldly seasoned to perfection and just add bow sauce to taste a truly legendary combination. Grab a Supreme and dip it to some bow sauce. It's bow time.
Restrictions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply to the website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, did you know there's a generic form of Viagra that works just the same, but it's 95% cheaper? And you can get it online at hims.com/joy. Through HIMS, you'll get a free medical consultation to determine the ED medication that's best for you. Discreet shipping if prescribed, a 100% online process, and a range of treatment options, including trusted generic alternatives to the name brands, at up to 95% off. ED is personal, and at HIMS, so is treating it. Just go to hims.com/joy and get connected to a licensed medical provider online for free. With zero copay, no expensive appointments, and no awkward face-to-face conversations. To start your free online visit, you need to go to this exclusive address, hims.com/joy. That's hims.com/joy for your free online.
Rock has changed, and I don't like it. Just want to say that phrase.
Okay.
Chapters are in ROC called Rock.
Oh, okay.
Rock is still rock today, you know, rock music. And even if I don't get it, it still is. I'm not saying I don't get it. But if I were to not get it, and if I didn't get it, that would make it more rock because I'm now old and old people don't understand rock or new rock. Hey, look, Mark Ryan just popped up on my feed. He's going to take up golf.
Better late than ever.
That's what he says. I don't know. Better do it now. It gets winter like at the end of August in Detroit. So. Warning.
Yeah. number 2. The Money Hour of the Rob Brown Radio program starts now. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages. The big show on the radio. It is the Fan Upstate. I am Rob Brown, the great Lonzo on the other side of the metaphorical glass this AM. Be a part of this little radio show that we have created, will you? The renewal by Anderson of the Carolinas fan phone is open for you at 844-FANFONE. That is 844-326-3663. The text line is open this AM at 71307. 71307. Start your text with FAN, F-A-N, FAN, F-A-N, and we will read them on the air. My guy Shane said, Rob, got to have that shirt. Target, baby. Hit the Target yesterday, picked up the flower shirt. And as one great American would say, styling and profiling. Speaking of, you can come watch us on the stream right now. Facebook.com/TheFanUpstate, Twitter.com/TheFanUpstate, on YouTube by searching and subscribing to The Fan Upstate and The Rob Brown Show, and on Twitch by searching and subscribing to The Rob Brown Show. You can come watch all 4 hours of the show live, all 5 days of the week, 20 hours of streaming presented to you every single week out of the goodness of our large hearts.
So
You're welcome.
do you look at the comments and think, oh, they're cracking, or they seriously like the shirt?
Who doesn't like this shirt? Look at this shirt.
I haven't decided yet.
Got the wildflowers on it.
Yeah, those
It's a good shirt.
they stand out in a way that kind of bothers me.
Is it because it's flowers?
No, I like flowers.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I've had one bro so far that's like, dude, flowers. Yeah, hell yeah.
Yeah, I don't care about the macho
I
thing.
garden, my man.
Yeah, I mean, I don't care about that, although I am.
By the way, the Peppa Fiesta is on. The pepper bed has been laid down. 4 bleep you hot peppers in the ground this year.
All right, so I now get why I'm struggling here. When you go loud, it's usually like in your face, old man.
Yeah.
If I want to wear pink, no, this is the opposite. I think this is a further transition into old.
No.
Yeah, this is all I wear now is old is flower shirts and Hawaiian shirts.
If you hit the Target, old is new. We've circled back around.
Okay.
The
all right.
70s flower stuff is back in.
You're gonna start singing Secondhand Store or whatever that was.
I saw Grand Funk Railroad last night.
Okay. All right. Did you buy that shirt for that
I sure
concert?
did.
Okay.
I sure did. And then I'm like, it's also a Friyay shirt. It's also a good Friyay shirt. Tracy said it's a weird shirt. It's not really. It's weird. It's a regular shirt.
Yeah, but you also, you know what? You don't have matching glasses. You don't have a matching hat. I mean, you have a brand, and this kind of is off brand. It is a little bit.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I fell asleep in the contacts last night and was just too lazy to take them out this morning.
Okay.
The blue glasses will go perfect with this.
Probably.
Yeah, the blue glasses.
You know, if you had the glasses going, maybe it would work a little bit more for me. I don't know.
We'll see. I do have something working that would.
Your pants aren't pulled up over your
No.
belly button, are they?
No, they're not.
Okay. I
No.
just, I mean, I'm not looking. I'm just going to ask and take your word for it.
I also did buy. I didn't wear them today. I also did buy a pair of matching blue linen pants to wear with this shirt.
Linen?
Yeah.
Really? Are they breathable?
They're old's back in, baby.
Can you play shuffleboard
Yes,
in them?
I
can. All right.
We walked by last night. There's a bar downtown. Some of you may know where it is. It's a bar downtown. When you walk down Main Street, it's down. It's like sunk down in the ground, but like an open air bar. And last night there was what I can only assume was like a pre-Kentucky Derby party going on, in which the bar has
Dirty Derby.
It's
All
a
right.
bar where where they put the skating rink downtown during the wintertime.
No,
It's in that, okay.
I haven't been downtown in a while.
Gotcha.
so.
All right. Well, downtown Greenville, there's like a sunk little area where they put a skating rink. Well, underneath that is a grass, it's turf, but a grass lawn. And last night as we walked by, there was a bunch of people, old and
Is
white.
it like near the Piazza Bergamo?
I don't know. I don't know where that is.
You've probably been through, unless they've changed the name. The Piazza Bergamo is like the downtown. I said I ain't been down there in a while. We've probably changed names.
Don't know. So I walked by. There's like a little lawn party going on, and there were a bunch of people down there all wearing white playing croquet.
Dude, now I'm in because croquet, that's my game. So
croquet is your
oh
game?
yeah, passed on from generation to generation.
The Reitzel's big in
no,
the
no,
croquet
it's
world?
actually the Newsom family, which is the family. My last name is just I got Newsom blood all through me. Anyway, so yeah, pass. The only time I ever saw my bedridden Papal get up
was to play croquet.
Go out and play some croquet. Always used a yellow ball, and he was wicked. Yes.
I'll be damned.
I love the croquet. If I were able to fly, my dream is to go to Wimbledon and play croquet.
Can't drive to Wimbledon.
I know, because it's the tennis and croquet club.
If you got the invite right now, would you suck it up for one flight? Would you suck it up to go do that? One flight to Wimbledon to play croquet on the most famous croquet pitch?
No, it's
field?
Yard? I don't know. I guess it's a yard. Because that's where we played it. If you knock me out, yeah, I'll go. Because then I won't know until I wake up and everything's backwards. So I mean,
all right, let's get into it. It is later in the segment than it should be for us to do this.
Oh man, I really over that.
That'll be great, man.
Water Cooler Cheat Sheet Top 3 sports stories you need to know before you get to the office and start talking sports with your coworkers. All of these stories will be brought back up again during the course of the show. So we hit the highlights now. In the NBA last night, the Pacers 120. Oh, sorry, item number one. See, I got late. I got out of sorts. Gotta.
You're still trying to get past the croquet thing. Let's go.
I am. It's shocking a little bit.
Let's go.
It's shocking a little bit. I had no idea. I'm also going to tell you, I have zero idea how you play croquet. You just hit the ball through the little.
No, there are a couple of different ways. One of my favorite games is poison, because after you make it all the way through, if you don't hit the stake, then you're poisoned.
Is it like golf where you go through? You have to go.
You have to go through. You go through a certain order, yeah. And if you miss, you got to come back, and you only get one shot. You can also send away. So if you hit someone, then you can put your ball next to them and send them. And it's they hate that.
Now I know why you like croquet.
Yeah, but poison. Then you go back, and if you go through a wicket, you die. But if you go back and you hit their ball, they're out of the game.
Texas said, just treat Lonzo like B.A. Baracus on the A-team. Give him a cheeseburger, knock him out.
There you go. There you go. There you go.
120-98 winners, the Pacers over the Bucks last night. They are moving on to round number 2, where they will take on the Indiana Pacers. The game last night for the Pacers was good enough. I mean, good enough. They were good last night. The Pacers shot 54% from the floor, 32.5% from the arc, knocked down 15 of 17 from the stripe. How about this? 17 3-point efforts last night put up by the Indiana Pacers, 32 put up by the Bucks. They actually connected on 21. It was not an awful night, but despite 21, not three-pointers, free throws, 17 free throws put up by the Pacers, 32 shot by the Bucks, almost a 2-to-1 free throw disparity, but it did not matter because the Pacers were just the better team. So they are on. They will end up getting the Knicks after the Knicks won 118-115 on the road over Philly last night. Jalen Brunson was once again a freaking dude. 41 points on 13 of 27 from the floor and 3 of 8 from the arc. Also had 12 free throws and 12 assists in this game as well. He was +9 in the plus-minus category on the evening. I thought the Knicks were in trouble. They had a breakaway, and Anunoby just blew a dunk. I mean, just blew a dunk. Abs wide open, beautiful pass, beautiful run, beautiful setup, beautiful assist. Just blew a dunk. And I was very close to hedging my bet that I made on the Knicks money line last night. Very close to being like, all right, let me just throw a bigger bet at Philly, because if he's going to miss that dunk, Philly's going to win this game. They did not. I didn't do it, which is good, because New York was able to hang on at the end, or actually about 3/4 of the way through the first period. The Knicks found themselves up 28-9 on the Sixers, and the Sixers were able to dig out of a hole that got as deep as, I believe, 27 points as 1 point last night. And rounding out item number one, actually, in terms of your bracket, Pacers and Knicks, that game one is on May 6th. Timberwolves Nuggets, that game is on May 4th. We are waiting for tonight, where we have two elimination games. The Clippers are trailing the Mavs 3-2. They will play at 9:30. The Cavs and the Magic tip at 7 p.m. Orlando trails Cleveland 3-2. So we could have the bracket totally rounded out for round two tonight, or could still be waiting for Monday to find out who's playing.
Every time you say Pacers and Knicks are moving on, it just sounds like, what, 1992?
It does.
When's a lot? It's been that
Reggie
long.
Miller
Yeah.
and Spike gonna get into it at MSG. It does feel very 90s-ish, and I am here for it. All right, sticking with the playoff theme for item number one, we've got the Bruins and the Maple Leafs. The Maple Leafs 2-1 winners at home last night in game number 6. The Maple Leafs over Boston, and that will force a game 7 back in Beantown. The 2 goals from Toronto, both scored by William Nylander. Had a great night, did Joseph Wall. What an appropriate name. Joseph Brick Wall made 22 saves on 23 shots on goal from Boston last night. He was phenomenal, and he will need to be again, as this one ends up moving on to a game 7. Coming up this evening in Lord's Stanley Cup's playoffs, we do have a couple of games. Vancouver is on the road at Nashville in game 6. The Preds are down 3-2, so they got to win back-to-back, one at home, one on the road. The Dallas Stars lead the Vegas Golden Knights 3-2. Game 6 tonight is going to be in Las Vegas, and Vegas will also have to win one on the road and one at home. Starting with at home, we do know that right now the Panthers, the 1 seed in the East, have moved on. The Rangers and the Canes are the 1 seed and the 2 seed in the bottom half of the Eastern Conference. They've moved on to round number 2. The Colorado Avalanche put away the Winnipeg Jets 4-1. The Avs have moved on. They get the winner of the Stars Golden Knights. The Oilers put away the Kings 4-1. They get the winners of the Canucks and the Predators. That game 6 will be tomorrow, or excuse me, that game 6 will be tonight. Game 7 will be on Sunday if necessary, and that's where we stand right now. The winner of Bruins Maple Leafs series will move on to take on the Florida Panthers. Let's get to item number 2. Won't spend a ton of time on this because we are talking about it coming up in the next segment, but the NCAA's national office could end up being the organization that has to foot the bill for the settlement in the landmark House v. NCAA lawsuit and other related antitrust cases, which, according to Yahoo's Pete Thamel, could end up being in the neighborhood of $2.7 billion worth of back pay to former college athletes who say they were illegally prevented from making money by selling the rights to their name, image, and likeness. We're going to get into this in a little bit. That number dramatically higher than I thought it was going to be, but the really interesting observation that was made yesterday is that this could end up being a spot where the NCAA HQ is going to be labeled by the schools and by the conferences as responsible for that $2.7 billion. So we are going to talk about that in the next segment. So let us get to item number 3. Dabo Swinney was the highest paid head coach in college football. That is until yesterday, when the Georgia Bulldogs decided Kirby Smart deserved that title. They gave him a 2-year contract extension. His contract now runs through the 2033 season, and he is set to make this upcoming season $13 million. He becomes college football's first $13 million coach, pushes him ahead of Clemson's Dabo Swinney as the highest paid coach at a public university, according to USA Today. Swinney set to make about $11 million this year. Though private school coaching salaries are not available to the public, ain't none of them paying out $13 million for a guy like Kirby Smart. It's not happening. The ranking of the top football coaching salaries will look a lot different in 2024. Why? Because in the top 5 were Nick Saban, who is gone, Jim Harbaugh, who is gone. Saban, of course, retiring, Harbaugh taking an NFL job. Saban and Harbaugh had routinely been among the highest paid coaches in college football. Mel Tucker lost his job at Michigan State after harassment allegations. He was on that list as well, is no more, as was obviously Jimbo Fisher. So now the top 2 are Kirby Smart and Dabo Swinney. You will remember that Kirby signed a 10-year contract extension back in 2022 that was set to pay him just over $10 million a season. At the time of the extension, just 5 of the coaches in college football had salaries over $9 million. Saban, who is retired, 2 others that have been fired, Mel Tucker, Jimbo Fisher. Only, as of today, only Smart, Ohio State's Ryan Day, LSU's Brian Kelly remain at their current school of guys that got $9 million or higher paychecks within the last couple of years. Of course, Kirby Smart has won 2 national championships in 3 college football playoff title game appearances under Kirby Smart, has lost a total of 11 games over the past 7 seasons since the Bulldogs went 8-5 his first year in 2016. So Kirby Smart is rich. He's rich now. He's very rich.
He was already rich. He's now richer.
Kirby Smart is richer than he was yesterday when he was already rich.
So once again, Georgia is better than Clemson.
But how will we ever find the money for the players? Guy signed a contract extension less than a year and a half ago, and you just bumped him up by $3 million a year. Don't tell me you can't find the money.
Someday I'm going to meet a guy who sounds just like that, and I'm going to say, there he is.
There he is. We got to run to a break. When we come back, we'll talk about this settlement story that Pete Thamel popped off on us yesterday. That is coming up next. I am Rob Brown, the Great with Lonzo on the ones and twos. The Rob Brown Show continues next. It is the Fan Upstate.
Prize picks. All
right, guys, quick live read. We're coming right back. Y'all stay right there. BRB.
rock a mohawk. Somebody said treat you like B.A. Baracus, and this entire commercial break, I was just looking at you like Zo could pull.
Yeah, but T, that was a reverse mohawk. That was not. He had the yeah. I'm not doing that. I've always wanted to do, and I guess it's still a mohawk, the one where they spike it.
Liberty spikes.
Yeah, I always wanted to try that.
Liberty spikes.
Which actually, when I shave the side of my head like I normally do, and I need to do now, I could pull that off. But I don't know how to make that stay. I mean, how do you do that?
A pound of hair gel. A pound of it.
I got a lot. I don't know. I'd have to get a haircut before I can make that work.
I played a gig once with a guy that had Liberty spikes that were, about 2 feet tall.
I would break my hair off.
Unbelievable.
Because I'd forget it's up there and I'd try to walk through a doorway and that would be it.
All right, let's get to this article. Pete Thamel and Dan Murphy collabed, as the kids say on this one. They have said that the settlement for the NCAA, we've been talking about this NCAA, or I should say House v. NCAA lawsuit for about a week now, because the topic of a potential settlement started floating around on Monday. And there's been discussion about this being not just a possibility, but a distinct possibility, a very real possibility. Part of the reason was because the loss of this lawsuit and the NCAA at this point, I don't know this, and I haven't really read any lawyer blogs that have gotten super deep into this case.
Wait. Do you normally read lawyer blogs?
If it's a real interesting case, yes.
Okay. All right.
Anytime, like when the Murdoch murders were going on.
Okay. All right.
You know what I mean?
All right.
Like I'm talking high profile.
All right. Yeah, I stayed away from that. My wife was really
I was beyond invested.
Yeah, I hear it enough on my other job.
Yeah,
so.
I believe it. I was beyond invested in that, and I will 100% go out there and read takes from lawyers, right?
I guess during the OJ trial that probably would have happened.
Absolutely.
Okay,
Absolutely.
There were no blogs then, but if there were,
there would have been everywhere. So I haven't read too much about this. I haven't read too much about where this might go, primarily because obviously they're still talking. We haven't actually gotten to the point where they go into a courtroom yet. And so many of the arguments that these attorneys would make are relatively unknown right now. I mean, we know the big points of the case, and we know the overarching main highlight of it, which is a bunch of former athletes. Now that NIL is good to go, a bunch of former athletes got together. We know right now that number is around 7,000 former college athletes got together, filed a class action lawsuit against the NCAA that says, hey, you have now, by making NIL a thing, acknowledged that we should have been allowed to make NIL money back then. And we want our comeuppance. We want to be compensated for what we were not allowed to make. And we believe that you illegally prevented us from making that money. And it feels to me like most of the folks in bigwig positions believe they're going to lose this case. And there have been other cases like it already that have been lost. So they believe they're going to lose this case, which is part of the reason the settlement is out there. Because they could fight it, but if they fight it and they lose, the payout is expected to be north of $4 billion. I said earlier in the week that just based on some things that I had read and some folks that I had talked to, that I thought the settlement was going to be in the range of like 1.5 to 2.5 bill. Turns out, according to Pete Thamel and Dan Murphy, that settlement is expected to be more than $2.7 billion. Now, as I pointed out earlier in the week, somebody asked already, why, if you were the NCAA, why settle here? What's the difference between $4 billion and $2.7 billion? And I sarcastically responded with, well, the answer is, of course, $1.3 billion. That's the difference.
If the NCAA genuinely thought that there was a chance long term that this would end up costing more, then they would fight it. But I don't think that they think it's going to. The big story that came out of this article is that sources told ESPN this week that parties have proposed the NCAA's national office, rather than its individual member schools or conferences, would pay for the settlement of past damages over a period of 10 years. So you would split that $2.7+ billion up and pay it out over the course of a decade. And it would come from the NCAA itself. Now, that still has an impact on the schools, because while the schools themselves would not be on the hook for the direct payment, where does the NCAA get its money? From all of the participating conferences and schools. I would be curious, before anything else, if this might be the proverbial straw that broke the camel's back. But this is not a straw. $2.7 billion is not a straw that breaks the camel's back. It is one of those Acme anvils from the Wile E. Coyote Roadrunner cartoons that breaks the camel's back. It's just too much. And I wonder if you are, say, on top of the SEC and the Big Ten, knowing that the payouts you would get from the NCAA moving forward are all going to be decreased. If this isn't what makes them just kind of go their own way, you can go your own way, AA. I don't know. I think that is a distinct concern that I would have if I was the NCAA. I also don't know what happens to the NCAA if they are on the hook for for $2.7 billion, and the Big Ten and the SEC do go their own way, do create their own thing, their own NCAA, but better, and aren't paying into the NCAA anymore. I don't know if that means that the NCAA dies, because they ain't going to get $2.7 billion over 10 years without those power conferences involved and invested anymore. And if that becomes the case, then what happens to all of the member institutions who are not Big Ten, who are not SEC, maybe ACC, maybe Big 12, but still play under the NCAA banner? Would there be somewhere for them to go?
They can do what a lot of businesses do and declare bankruptcy and then move on.
I don't know this. And if there are, and I mean this, if there are any bankruptcy attorneys, corporate bankruptcy attorneys in the audience that don't mind sharing information with us, great. I don't know that bankruptcy in and of itself gets you off the hook for this. I don't think
I think you pay less, maybe. They'll come in and take some stuff out of the offices, like some office furniture and things like that, and desks.
Yeah, you work standing up now, Charlie Baker.
There you go.
And not with one of those expensive standing desks. You got to work at a regular desk, no chair. You're going to have to go down to the Goodwill and get some milk crates to sit on, my guy. I don't know.
And that's not very comfortable, Charlie.
No, I had milk crates when I was a kid. My parents were smart. They do me and the little brother to break everything.
Yeah, I used to work in grocery, and when you would have to, what some people call front the shelves, pull everything forward to make it look, you'd sit on milk crates.
They still have milk crates?
Yeah. Milk still comes in milk crates.
Does it?
Absolutely.
Figured they would have upgraded from milk crates by this point.
To what?
I don't know. I mean, I guess they really are the most efficient way of carrying milk 4 gallons.
They're pretty sturdy.
They are sturdy.
They are.
You're not wrong. I mean, that's why people in the 70s and 80s use them as furniture. I get it. Anyway, how do we get them milk crates? Point here is, I don't know what happens to the NCAA if it is decided that they are going to have to go. See, the reason I wasn't worried about this until today was because the initial stories about the settlement made it sound as if the schools and the conferences were going to be the ones that were going to be fronting the checks for this. And if the schools in the conferences were going to have to front the checks and it was equally distributed or percentage based, I would have assumed across the board. My assumption in that case would have been that they would have almost kind of been obligated to work together to figure this whole thing out. They would have almost kind of had to work. Hey, we're on the hook for billions of dollars. We kind of need to work together to make sure we have a fantastic product to, make billions of dollars.
All right. So I looked it up because I was curious. The NCAA, according to several outlets, generates $1.3 billion a year.
Which is also got to go into salary and organizing events and putting on events, including football games. Referees all come through all of that.
Well, and like most places, when you're going through hard times, some people are going to have to get some cuts. We're going to have to cut you down from making $2 million a year to $1 million. Sorry. I mean, everyone feels it. You're going to feel it too. So they're bringing in $1.3 billion, and the settlement was for what?
It would be, according to Thamel,
Or
north of
2.7?
2.7.
2.7. So that's like 2 years worth of what they generate.
Yeah, if you throw every single dollar that comes in at it, but you obviously can't do that.
The reason why I'm bringing this up, so they're expected to pay out basically what if it was an individual 2 years worth of salary.
Yeah. But again, imagine right now you got hit for a judgment for 2 years worth of your salary. That doesn't mean you can stop paying the electricity bills. Don't mean you can stop buying food. Don't mean you can stop putting gas in your car, right? You've still got to operate and then be putting that money aside. Now, they get 10 years to pay it off. But even still, great one. If they came to you and said you owe 2 years of your salary and you have 10 years to come up with it, that's still hefty, dude. That's still a hefty chunk of change. Don't make it impossible, right? But it's still a hefty chunk of change that comes out of your pocket. So, I with that being said, I'm thinking about it in my head, and not to make it weird, but I just bought a car last year. That car is 1 year's salary for me. I have 5 years to pay it off.
Dude, I'll still be paying on my car when I retire. So, I mean,
you got yourself a treat. You got yourself a dream down there. I went with efficiency.
Did you?
Still a dope car.
I was going to say it's still pretty sporty. So
it's a good ride. Anyway, point here is that's a lot. That's a lot of money. 1.7 bill. And oh, by the way, it's 1.7 bill. And we got that 1.3 billion you just talked about. You still got to create, due to the settlement, a revenue sharing program moving forward, which some experts are saying could be up to 22% of a large school's budget for revenue sharing. 22% of the budget may have to be set aside to give money to college athletes for their participation in college athletics. It's very interesting. Texter said, a great show yesterday, and we're back to this. Zoe, is this not the biggest story in college athletics right now?
Yeah, I don't know what they're talking about. There's a lot of baseball yesterday.
Yeah.
If you want to consider that great, I mean, that's.
Hey, the Braves and the Dodgers set to set up a 3-gamer out in L.A. coming up this evening. We're going to break that game later. Yes, Texter, you're welcome. You get a couple of baseball segments today, too. God, this show's good. It's the Rob Brown Show on the Fan Upstate.
Good and late. Man, please don't send me an email. Please don't send me an email.
Does he email you when we're late? Quick break, guys. We'll be right back. Don't go anywhere.
this the rest of the show for those of you that are just bored out of your brain by this. And I get it. I get it. I do not think college sports is going to die. We love it too much to let it. Okay. It might get a little more expensive for us down the road.
It's not going to die. The NCAA can go away and college sports will still exist.
The only question is, will college sports still exist for smaller schools? Are they going to get priced out of being able to provide it? But I would also make the argument that, guys, college sports has never been profitable for small schools. Small schools stay afloat by keeping it regional. They stay afloat by having a passionate, driven, hardcore alumni base that continues to buy in, because at the end of the day, for them, it's not about trophies. It's just about the pride and competition.
It does help when they get that 1 game a year or 2 games a year against a big time program and they get paid like $1 million for the game.
Yep. It stays afloat by that. It stays afloat by, one time a year, we got to go to Death Valley, or we got to go to we got to go between the hedges, or we got to go to Willie B and get our asses kicked, but we're going to get $1 million for it. That's how they stay afloat. That's how they stay alive. They've always operated in a deficit. This is kind of one of those reasons why when people have given their rationale about being anti-NIL over the years, I have said this argument does not work. Well, it's going to kill the small. No, it's not. No, it's not. Because there's a lot of kids that ain't getting recruited by Georgia and Alabama that can play for Furman, that can play for Wofford. And it's not like, I'm sorry, I don't mean this to be disrespectful, because I love those two schools and everything they do for this community and everything that we've been able to do operating with them. But it's not like Furman's bringing in $1 billion a year, right? It's not like Wofford's bringing in $1 billion a year. And yet they still play football every year. They still operate. They still have stadiums. They still have fans. So I'm not really worried about that. They've always operated this way. People adapt. People evolve to meet the environment that they are in. And I think this will not be any different. Thamel writes in his article, which you can find on the ESPN website, since a cadre of collegiate sports and NCAA officials met plaintiffs' attorneys at the Hyatt Regency at the Dallas-Fort Worth Airport on April 25th, the details for potentially settling the House case have begun to be distributed to campuses. After interviews with more than a dozen college officials, industry sources, and lawyers this week, ESPN has learned that many crucial details for a settlement remain unsolved, but both sides are making progress toward a deal that could serve as a catalyst for the new business model of college sports. Thamel quotes one industry source as saying, quote, "They've got stuff on paper. This is not just lawyers and commissioners meeting and having a cocktail. This snowball is moving downhill. The horizon on this is about a month," end quote. So what is this lawsuit? Because I did get asked that yesterday, and it's actually a very good question. What is this lawsuit? Like, we know it's, okay, a bunch of athletes say you didn't let us get paid and we should have. Plaintiffs in the House case are arguing that the NCAA is breaking the law by placing any restrictions on how athletes monetize their name, image, and likeness. Any restrictions at all. Now, this is going to be a spot where a lot of us are going to have some iffy feelings, because part of the way that I make my money, for instance, is name, image, and likeness. It's endorsements. It's being in partnerships with different businesses that want to use the platform of this show and attach their name to me, and businesses that I say, I like your model, I like what you do, and I'm willing to utilize the platform I have built to endorse you for X dollars, to utilize my name, image, and likeness in order to do that, right? But there are rules as to what I can and can't do laid down by the business that I work for. There are particular categories of profit of business that I am not allowed to endorse. There are certain ways that I am not allowed to endorse them. There are certain restrictions about how and when and where and why I can endorse a product. For instance, I can't just go out on my own and endorse a product. I can't do it separately from this entity, but I agreed to that. And I signed a contract that said I agreed to that. And I don't know if in the past contracts
scholarships have had that clause in them, or if this is just something that you signed a contract and then you got told once you were a student athlete, you can't do that. The other reason this lawsuit flies is because it is an antitrust lawsuit. That is to say, the NCAA has a stranglehold. They are the only game in town when it comes to college sports. That's not the case for me. There's 100,000 radio stations around the United States of America. And I'm guesstimating there, and that's probably way high. I would say Great One, there's probably what? If we include legitimate outfits, maybe 5 to 750 sports talk stations across America. Like maybe 750.
Maybe. I don't know.
But the point is,
I don't believe there's 100,000.
There's not. I'm being sarcastic.
Just because I just made a face. I mean, you didn't have.
Point here is I can shop myself around. If I came here and they said, "All right, Rob, you can't endorse a porn studio. You're not allowed to do that on our airwaves." Well, if it was really important to me that I be able to promote a porn studio, I could shop my services out across the market until I come to a station that says, we really don't care if you promote a porn studio on our airwaves. And I would go, that's a thing that's important to me. This is the reason that I will work there.
Just trying to figure out why you went there. But
I don't know. Because I was trying to come up with something else. I mean, I guess I could have
gone with
cigarettes.
You want to go outrageous.
Yeah.
Okay.
I needed to make a point. But the point is, I could shop myself around. If you want to play college football, you play under the NCAA banner. There's nowhere else to go. If there were 4 or 5 different, college sports agencies, and a bunch of schools operated under this one and a bunch of schools under that one, and you could pick which of those outlets allowed you the freedom that you want to play under, then this lawsuit wouldn't fly. But it's an antitrust suit. You own this. You were the only game in town. I have a choice of either agree to your rules or not go to college and play athletics on a scholarship. And while some of you are going to take the hard line of, okay, there's your choice. The reality is, don't we also as a country, at least we used to, don't we also as a country promote education, promote kids getting their education, being smarter? To me, we absolutely should. It is an investment in the future. Rob ain't got kids. He's got no problem paying an education tax to make sure that the school system works.
Yes, I don't really have much of a choice, but
I mean, I don't.
Yeah.
But I do know a lot of people are pushing back against it. They want to repeal it. They don't even want a school system at all, right? To me, it's an investment in the future. Don't we want kids going to college? Don't we want kids getting an education? Don't we want kids to have that opportunity? And if they can earn that opportunity because they're a great athlete, regardless of sport, I'm all for it if it's fundable. I don't have an issue with that. But if you want to do that, there's one game in town. It's the NCAA. You play under their banner or you don't play. And that's where this lawsuit is being generated. That's where this lawsuit is coming from. So, as I said when we were going to break in the last segment, when the texter said, great day yesterday and back to this, ? Sigh. Again, I know that this is kind of boring. I know it is. I know it's kind of boring. I know it's not super compelling. And trust me, I know that it presents a problem to me because our job is to be compelling. Our job is to compel you to listen, to come to this show, to watch the stream, to download our podcast, to do all the things. That's our job. And I know that this doesn't really help me with that because it's not a super compelling thing to talk about. But this lawsuit is going to. Here's a statement. My fiance just texted me. She said, I had to turn off the radio. Like, I get it. I get it. It's not all that interesting if you came here this AM because you wanted to talk NBA basketball, or you came here this AM because you wanted to talk Braves baseball, all of which we have done or will do.
Well, the people on the stream are wondering when you're announcing your OnlyFans.
I'll pay me $19.99 a month to not take my shirt off on the stream.
Are you going to wear that shirt on your OnlyFans?
Start at the top button, more way down. I know it is not the most compelling topic in the world, but this lawsuit is going to, not might, not could, not potentially may, is going to reshape college sports as a whole. It is going to reshape college sports as a whole. It is going to be a different look. It is going to be a different vibe. It is going to be a different operating system, a different set of parameters that your school, no matter what your school is going to have to operate under. It means dramatic changes in the landscape of college athletics moving forward. So it is not crazy compelling. It is not wildly entertaining. I know I've still got Braves v. Dodgers series breakdown on the front burner. I've still got more NFL draft result talk on the back burner. I've still got plenty more to get to. But the reason this is in the 7 o'clock hour, the most important hour of the show, is from 7 to 8. It is the drive time hour. The reason it's in this hour is because this lawsuit is going to change college sports as we know it. You know how when the NIL stuff came down and you had people coming on the air going, this was going to change college sports forever. And I went, yeah, not really.
It did, though.
Not really.
Yeah.
Not really.
It has changed.
If you want to say something changed college landscape forever, it's the portal.
Right.
And even still, last year, all y'all teams had portal players on it, and all y'all teams had portal players off it. And yet, when Labor Day rolled around and it was time for kickoff, every one of y'all was out there in your orange and your garnet polos getting settled down for some college football, and you loved it. And when you had a portal guy in that succeeded, he was your dog, right, Spencer Rattler? And when you had a portal guy out that went somewhere else and succeeded, you went, bleep that guy.
Yeah, Marshawn Lynch.
Right?
Whatever.
This, more than the portal, more than NIL, is going to reshape the face of college athletics and the way it operates. Also, Kirby Smart got $13 million a year starting this year. So play the world's tiniest violin for what about the money?
Wow. You went violin. I haven't heard that one in a while. I know about the world's tiniest. Yeah, I've been hearing that all my life. So yeah, I don't know why.
Well, that was sad. Let's be happy with a sports flash.
No, there's a little violin that plays in my head. I think it's a cricket. Or maybe a cicada. They're really loud right now. Philadelphia 76ers facing elimination at home, stormed from down 14 at the end of the first quarter to take the lead in the fourth, but it wasn't enough as the Knicks eliminated Philly 4-2 with a 118-115 win last night. The Knicks move on to take on the Indiana Pacers. Speaking of the Indiana Pacers, Damian Lillard did all he could do, scoring 28, but it wasn't enough for Milwaukee as they were eliminated by Indiana 4-2 with a 120-98 loss. Obi Toppin scored 21 and TJ McConnell added 20. The Pacers connected on 54% of their field goal efforts and recorded 33 assists in the process. Tune in this afternoon from 3 to 7 p.m. for our brand new local show, Wire to Wire. Cole Bryson and Diesel get you up to date on the latest local and national sports news. Great guests, great debate, and a whole lot of fun. Wire to Wire. Yes, the Jam Cam is back. Jam Cam. That's true, Shane.
at 410 South Pleasantburg. Live the Borderlands experience for yourself. We've gone to a whole new level. Find us on Facebook and Instagram. Proud sponsors of Upstate
Oh
News,
no.
Borderlands Comics and Games.
Back on it.
We're Comparing Insurance Agency. Never heard of us? We know. But to help it stick that our local agents are insurance experts, we're going to say local agent 3 times in the next 5 seconds. Local agent. Local agent. Local agent.
Find us at comparinginsurance.com.
For the ones who work hard to ensure their crew can always go the extra mile, and the ones who get in early so everyone can go home on time.
Don't do that, Trey. That's we know that's not a place you want to go. Perhaps you have forgotten, or maybe you're trolling. I don't know. There will be wrath, and it will be your fault, Trey.
Trey, Beef, Beef is the bad guy on this show.
I told you, Trey.
Beef's the bad guy.
The Beef would never wear a shirt like that.
Beef ain't got it.
He only wears
Tank tops.
white tank tops. Started to say what those were called, but I changed my mind.
Unique and unlike any other sports talk show, it's BetMGM Tonight, Monday through Friday from 7 to 11, only on the Fan. BetMGM Tonight is the red zone for casual and hardcore sports fans. Live sports betting updates for all of the night's games as they happen. Get the latest scores, sides, totals, props, parlays, futures, and much more with real-time, relevant sports wagertainment tonight at 7. BetMGM Tonight, exclusively on the Fan and on the Odyssey app. Your morning jolt of sports. It's the Rob Brown Show.
The county sheriff's office in Tennessee confirmed to the Post that 57-year-old Darius Rucker was booked on 3 separate charges. The Hootie and the Blowfish member was charged. What do you mean member? He's Hootie. It's his band.
There is no Hootie.
Was charged with 2 counts of simple possession, casual exchange of a controlled substance, and 1 count of a violation of the state's vehicle registration law. In layman's terms, Rucker was allegedly involved in a drug handoff, and a law enforcement claimed his tags were expired. I love this. He appeared emotionless in his mugshot. Yeah, I'm sure because he was like halfway between stoned and furious.
He's supposed to cry.
I mean, let him cry. If the tears fall down like rain, let her cry. If the tears fall down like rain. You know I had to. Come on, man. It was right there.
I set you up.
It was right there.
Don't hit snooze. The Rob Brown Show, now morning 6 to 10 on the Fan.
The Fan Upstate. Wire to wire.
ESPN is reporting that the Ravens declined 8 different trade offers in order to draft Nate Wiggins.
And then they found a way to win each and every time that our back was against the wall. And we're going to continue to ride this wave.
He's not though, Wesley. He's just bringing back some flavor, like what he did. No.
Bringing back Fun Shirt Friday.
I don't think that's a thing.
I got 3 other shirts from Target yesterday too. That are
Do they all look just like that?
They're all like different. One of them is.
Did Courtney go? No.
No, she actually liked this one.
Okay, all right.
The other one she's not going to be as thrilled about, but she hasn't seen him yet.
Oh.
Hour number 3 of the 4-hour sports talk extravaganza that is the Rob Brown radio program starts right now. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. I am Rob, the great one, Lonzo on the ones and twos. Great to have you as we enter the 3rd hour of the most electrifying broadcast in sports talk entertainment. How about this story that came out yesterday? Apparently, the Baltimore Ravens really like Nate Wiggins. Nate Wiggins, the cover corner out of Clemson, got picked 30th overall by Baltimore. And what a hell of a landing spot for that guy, by the way. What a phenomenal landing spot for that guy. 30th overall. Remember, we got the story earlier in the week about Dabo Swinney. He was texting with Eric DaCosta, the GM for this team, and was saying, that's your guy. That's your dude. Pick that guy. You're not going to regret picking this guy. Apparently, according to Jamison Hensley, ESPN staff reporter. Jamison Hensley, I can't not say it like that.
Yeah, but you're trying to do Bill Brooks as Jamison.
No, that
Hensley.
would be Jamison Hensley.
No. You don't have the. I'm Jamison Hensley. You gotta think of like someone named Alistair who was on PBS back in the day. That kind of voice.
This is Jamison Hensley.
That's better.
No, he gets like old British war officer. Jamison Hensley. Anyway, Jamison Hensley of ESPN reported that the Baltimore Ravens, as it got closer and closer to pick at 30, with teams up ahead of them looking at wide receiver, they were, or looking at offense, I should say, they were getting very, very excited about the possibility of Nate Wiggins falling to them. The Cowboys were ahead of them. They knew they wanted to go offensive line. Kansas City traded up. They weren't trading up for a corner. They were going to get their wide receiver. The Cardinals already had an offensive player. Tampa Bay, no shock, they're going offensive line. Same with Green Bay ahead of them. The last cornerback off the board was Terry Arnold out of Alabama, who by many was considered to be the best cornerback on the board, with Nate Higgins very closely behind. There were also plenty of scouts who believed that Nate Wiggins actually is a better player than Terry Arnold was. Either way, the Baltimore Ravens were quite excited about seeing Nate Wiggins fall all the way down to number 30 and allow them to pick who Eric DaCosta said was their number one defensive player on the board overall. Now, like Nate Wiggins or not, I'm not quite ready to go that far. I got no problem with you saying he was the best cornerback. I got no problem with you saying he was the best defensive back on the board. I don't know that I could go best defensive player overall, but in the mix. Anyway, according to the post put up by Jamison Hensley of ESPN, the Ravens turned down not one, not two, not three, not four, not five, not six, not seven, but 8 different trade offers from teams looking to get there. Now, there's no guarantee that all of them were trading up to get Nate Wiggins. I would not be shocked to learn that one of those trade offers wasn't the Carolina Panthers moving up to go get their wide receiver. I would not be shocked if one of those trade offers was maybe...
Oh, man, I really over that.
That'll be great, man.
Love that guy. Love that guy.
We can't speak his name without letting him speak.
Old Xavier Legette. That may have been the Chargers trying to get up and get a wide receiver. That might have been Atlanta trying to jump up and get a defensive player in that spot. We don't know. What we do know is that according to Jamison Hensley, they received 8 trade offers from teams looking up to grab Nate Wiggins off the board. That's incredible. Best quote of draft day itself, Nate Wiggins said, quote, "Actually, when they called me, I was in the bathroom. I'm not going to lie. I was mad." Yeah. My guy. I mean, I get it. Like, the draft order was kind of screwed
Wait. And what was he doing? Was he throwing up or something? I mean, what? I was mad. I was in the bathroom. What's that?
Well, I mean, think about it. You spent your whole life working your butt off to get that phone call, the most important phone call of your life, the phone call from a GM that says, dude, do you want to be a Raven? Are you pumped about being a Raven? You ready to get to work? You work your entire life to get that phone call, and you lose that phone call because you're in the bathroom taking whatever you're taking. That's I can see how that would be a bummer.
Yeah, but he said he was in the bathroom because he was mad.
He said he was mad because he was in the bathroom. So when they called me, I was in the bathroom. I'm not going to lie. I was mad. I think he was mad because he missed the call.
No,
I don't think he was in there
okay.
That ruined his draft day. You know what I mean?
Well, he could have been in there crying. I mean, he was mad, so he was in there, Anyway.
He knew he was on the board. He had to pee. He missed the phone call. He ultimately got the phone call, said everything went crazy after that. But he was good to go. Anyway, eight trades were offered to Baltimore to go get this guy. Or I guess the real way to look at it here is Baltimore had 8 opportunities to rack up capital. And by the way, when you get a trade offer, it's good. When you get 2, it's better. When you get 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 or 7 or 8, it's great because you can start playing those teams against each other. Hey, John, I know you want the 30 spot. And I know you offered me 2 seconds to get here, and that's great. But Cincinnati just threw in 2 seconds and a 4th. Can you match it? If you'll match it, I'll give it to you. Hey, so-and-so at Cincinnati. My guy just matched your offer for 2 seconds and a 4th. What do you say about 2 seconds and a 3rd, and it's yours? If you don't match that, or if you don't beat that, I'm going to give it to him. What do you say? It allows you to kind of play around a little bit, and they wanted this cat so badly that they decided to go ahead and say, no, we're not even going to get in the bidding contest. We're not even going to get into the bidding war. We're taking him. This is the kind of stuff that as a top-notch school helps you out a lot. This is the kind of stuff you write about when you're putting a recruiting pitch together. Hey, kid, we think you could be the next Nate Wiggins, the guy that Baltimore passed on 8 trade opportunities to bring in. That's how well we developed him as a cover corner. We can do the same for you. This is a big story for Clemson. Not just Nate Wiggins, not just Baltimore. It's a big story for Clemson. These are the kinds of stories that you utilize to lure kids in. Because, look, I know that there are a lot of you that think a lot of players are only picking schools for the money. And I'm sure that there are a bunch of players for whomst that is true. No doubt. There's a bunch of guys who go, well, my best NIL offer is from there, so that's where I'm going. Sure. But there are also a lot of kids who enter the college football landscape because they have a dream. They got a dream of making it to the league. And when you're cranking out players like this, when you're getting guys like this, when you're getting guys to show up like this, and you're developing them like this, and you are turning them into a player that when we think defense in the NFL, Baltimore's what?
They're
3-4 on
yeah,
the list?
at least top 3 for sure.
Yeah.
Almost every year.
So you've got a team that has built its entire cultural identity around being a great defense that passed 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 trade offers to bring this guy into their franchise. And you get to claim we developed that guy. You get to claim that we made that guy. He came here. We built that cat. We made him in his last year the guy that he ultimately became, the guy that the defensive identity, defensive identity of the NFL passed on 8 trade offers to get. I would also keep in mind Nate Wiggins, a Clemson-only guy. Recruited to Clemson, went to Clemson, ended up at Clemson. He did, you will keep in mind, those of you that are hardcore into the game know that he was committed to play at LSU, flipped to Clemson just before National Signing Day his senior year.
You know, by saying that, you're pointing out that that's going to become a thing now.
What's that?
Because kids are moving so much. The fact that you're saying he's a Clemson-only guy. So what you're saying is he never transferred from anywhere
Correct.
to get there.
Here's the thing.
Is that going to become a rarity? I know that's not the conversation, but is that going to become a rarity?
It's a fine question to ask, and I was actually kind of going to go in that direction anyway, so it's fair to bring it up here. Is it going to be a regularity? I don't think so. There's what was the number? 2,500 guys? 3,500 guys? I don't remember. How many kids are in the portal right now? It's a big number.
A whole lot.
Yeah. How many football players in the portal? It's either 25 or 3,500. It's a big number. 30 according to Google AI, as of May 1st, the college football transfer portal has 3,000
3,843 names, which is a record-breaking number, higher than the previous record of 3,502 set in the 22-23 cycle. So it's a ton of guys. And we keep in mind that many of those guys aren't going to find a landing spot. Many of those guys are going to end up not getting to play football anymore. What have I been saying this whole ride? Adult choices mean adult consequences. That is an adult decision that you get to make, and you have to live with the adult consequences. It is going to suck for you if you leave a team that was glad to have you on it and nobody else wants you, and now you don't have a scholarship anymore. Sucks, bro. But adult choices have adult consequences. I would not feel, I feel bad for anybody, sure, but I'm not like, wanting to blow up the whole system for it. It would be the same if there was a regular student who decided to stay in state for their college schooling. And they went and they did a year, and then they decided, well, I want to be a blank major, and the best blank school in the country is over here, and I don't have a scholarship, but I'm going to go there anyway, and you got to pay out-of-state tuition, and then you get there and you realize, I can't do that. I'm out. That sucks, man. That sucks. That's life, though, right? Here's what I am going to say. As somebody who is still very pro-portal, I am going to say this. Guys like Nate Wiggins are a spectacular argument in favor of players staying at a school for multiple years. Not an argument to compel them to do so. Not an argument to mandate or legislate that they stay at a school for their 3 or 4 years. But a good argument to do it. If you get an opportunity to stay at a school, what are you learning? You're learning consistency. You're playing within a system. You're going to master that craft. If I'm playing over here in a 4-3 and then I move over to a 3-4 where the defensive backs are expected to participate in the run defense game as much as they are the pass defense game, and I'm a cover corner, playing in the run game doesn't help me all that much. That's not where my strength lies. That's not what the league's going to see. But if I stay at the school that I am at, where I'm expected to play a cover corner, I'm going to become the best cover corner I can become. However, you again, flip side of every argument. If you got an opportunity to transfer to a school that's got a cornerbacks coach that sent 90-11 guys to the league in the last 5 years, that's an opportunity for you. But I think consistency helps you become a better whatever you are. Consistency helps you be a better radio show host. Consistency. This is why we as people are pattern-seeking creatures. Because when there is consistency, we get better at that thing. And a guy like Nate Wiggins, who showed up at Clemson, played his entire collegiate career at Clemson, and developed within that program, where he developed not just cover corner skills, but leadership skills that made him attractive to an NFL team. He developed enough at that school that an NFL team traded or ignored 8 trade offers to get the guy at 30 to make him a first rounder. This is why I love these discussions. There's 9 different discussions that sprung out of this story. The story is Baltimore turned down 8 trade offers to get Nate Wiggins. But it talks about his tenacity, his ability. It talks about the fact that I can't say that they didn't already have a plan in place to draft Nate Wiggins when Dabo Swinney got on the horn and was like, hey, that dude's your dude, that guy's your guy, go get him. But he gets to claim that it helped, right? Dabo gets to, when he's recruiting guys coming out of high school that are 5-star guys that have league potential written on them, he gets to go, hey, just remember, on draft night, I'll get on the horn to an NFL GM. I'll give a call. I'll shoot a text off to an NFL GM and go, this is your guy. Trust me on this. I'll throw my weight around for you. That's a recruiting tactic and a good one to have in the back pocket. Real good recruiting tool to have in the back pocket. If you are worried about the portal, you can point out that guys like Nate Wiggins, who have stuck with this team for 2 or 3 or 4 years, become NFL draft picks. We're going to develop you. We want you in the league. Makes us look better. We want you in the league. We will help you develop to be a league caliber player, but you got to stay here to get that done. That's a compelling argument for a guy with NFL dreams to stay in that school.
So I found this story very compelling for all of those reasons. Let's run to a break. When we come back here in just a minute, the Atlanta Bravos out on the left coast this weekend. A 3-gamer, the premier series in Major League Baseball at the Dodgers. Braves have been playing the last week and a half. Is there a spark plug going up against a team they know they will be battling for the number 1 overall seed in the National League? We will address that when we return. I am Rob Brown, the Great One Lonzo. On the ones and twos, the Rob Brown Show rolls on after this. It's the Fan Upstate.
Friday, man. No, there's one that doesn't air on Friday. So, you're probably done.
I'm trying so hard.
Really?
Okay? I'm trying so hard. That's
the Michael Bublé thing, right?
It is.
Okay.
It has no sweeteners in it at all. It is literally just soda water and just cherry juice. This one's cherry? Yeah, just cherry
The fact
juice.
that you say you're trying means
It's awful.
okay.
It's awful. I'm trying to develop a taste for the bubbly, but it's awful. I'm hoping that if I drink enough of it, I'll acquire that taste, but it is bad.
I guess they would be complicated. I didn't really think about that. I mean, so you don't have a violinist?
All of our extra sounds, horns and all that come off the keyboard. But we really don't have a lot of songs that we use them for. I still have my trombone, and we have dabbled a couple of times with playing some like
ska.
Webs by No
Ska.
Doubt. Yeah, pretty much. The shirt is, what do you mean it's an aggressive shirt? It's got flowers on it. It's the least aggressive shirt I own.
They weren't ready. But I mean, you're never ready for that, for that shirt.
It's got
He's
flowers.
easing you into the fluorescent pink, which is coming, and we've seen, and
Magenta.
purple. Yeah. Okay. Well,
Magenta. Back in the wardrobe, by the way. Down enough I can get back into the magenta shirt. Next stop, my extensive jersey collection of extra larges, but extra large jerseys are larges. That's the next stop.
so they're no longer snug. They look like
Like a jersey shirt.
like President Kevin Smith wearing his jerseys.
That's the hockey jerseys.
Okay.
Hockey jerseys are made for the big boys. All right. Hockey jerseys are a big boy's best friend. I am like, when I moved here, I was a fat. And then I lost a bunch. And then when I lost a bunch, I bought like a bunch of Triumph jerseys, a bunch of Drive jerseys, like jerseys from around here. Bought a couple more Saints jerseys, whatever.
He would have bought them anyway. He just bought them in
They
bigger
just had
sizes.
two out front of the X. I bought them with the 1X, but again, in jerseys.
James says snap into a Slim Jim. Now I can't unsee that.
You know, he is their spokesperson. He's doing commercials for them.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah,
I know.
They're great. They're great. So yeah, I gotta like I started hanging the jerseys on the closet when I'm broadcasting from the house, you know, because it's a cool little backdrop, I think, to have a bunch of jerseys with my name and number on them because I'm an egomaniac. And now I look at them every day and I'm like, you can't wear those now, you fat turd. And that's the motivation, you know?
But they are a large canvas in which people can see the
They are
painting
large.
that used to be you.
They are large. You are correct. All right. Let's get into this for a few minutes. The matchup of probable NLCS contenders. The matchup of probable NLCS contenders, the LA Dodgers hosting the Atlanta Braves this weekend. This is a massive series. The Dodgers have been on a road trip. The Braves just got done with a 3-gamer up in the great Northwest when they played at Seattle, taking on the Mariners. Dropped 2 out of 3 against Seattle. But before you panic, I will remind you that that is the AL West leading Seattle Mariners, and a Mariners team that is 1 game behind the team with the best record in baseball, the Cleveland Guardians, the same team the Braves took 2 out of 3 of in a series before that.
When Rob says before you panic, he's talking to himself.
I don't want to break it. I don't want to break it out yet.
See, here's what I think. I think you're trying not to do the meltdown because I pointed out the meltdown, and so you're trying to do the opposite. You're going, I'll show him. I won't melt down this year like I did last year and the year before. I won't do that.
When it comes to sailing the seas of negativity, I'm your captain, and I'm feeling mighty sick. Like, I'm not above it. When my team sucks, I'll say my team sucks. Last year, the Braves went on a long hold streak, and it was very frustrating for me. They ended up winning more games than anybody else in Major League Baseball. But during the meltdown, it was not good. This series is enormous. The Braves and the Dodgers have become a bit of a rivalry over the past 5, 6, 7 years or so, as both of these teams have consistently been hanging out at the top of the National League record year after year after year. Game number 1 tonight is at 10:10 p.m. They listed the time in Pacific. I had to do that.
No, I get it. I get it.
Yeah, 10:10 p.m.
You probably do that anywhere, not just on the radio. So
1,000%. 10:10 p.m. Game 2 is tomorrow at 9:10. It's just 1 hour before, dummy. You don't have to do that. And then the series will conclude at 4:10 on Sunday afternoon. The Dodgers sit atop the NLS with a 20-13 record. The Braves are at the top of the NL East with a 20-9 record at this point. So the two teams playing nearly identical baseball after the Korea series. They've played pretty much the same baseball. This is going to be a very important game number 1. The Dodgers threw Yamamoto in their last time out. He is unavailable. That is their ace. That is their one. Now, they are working on getting better. They got Walker Buehler, who is about set to make his debut, et cetera, et cetera. But they can't go Yamamoto, which means they are going Gavin Stone. Gavin Stone right now is sitting on a 2-1 record as a starter, but he does have a 4.68 ERA with 18 Ks. The Bravos, however, don't get their best either. Charlie Morton will be on the bump tonight. Charlie Morton is 2-0 with a 3.6 ERA and 28 strikeouts. He also has a whip of 1.36 across the 30 innings that he has hurled. Then we go to game 2. Game 2 is where I am very apprehensive. Tyler Glasnow has been very, very good for the Dodgers. He is 5-1 in ERA under 2.75, 53 strikeouts across 43 innings, and a whip of 0.93, not 1.93, 0.93. He is currently the second, maybe third best performing pitcher in Major League Baseball right now. Whereas the Braves will have to go with Bryce Elder, 1-0, a 1.5 ERA, but he's only pitched 12 innings. He has recorded 6 strikeouts with a 1.33 whip so far. Bryce Elder is a returning all-star. He had an all-star season last year. But he's also a guy that has not thrown many innings this year. He's thrown 12 innings so far. That's not great. Then we go to game 3. That game's going to be very interesting as the projected starters are a couple of lefties. Max Fried going to go for the Braves in game 3. James Paxton will get the nod for the Dodgers. Fried is 2-0 with a 4.02 ERA and 31 plus innings with 21 strikeouts and a 1.18 whip. Let me tell you where the nerves come from. Mookie Betts, who is right now, you bet him a runs, hits, RBI prop every night, and you're winning 8 out of 10 games. This guy is blood. Let me put it this way. If the season ended today, Mookie Betts would not be the NL MVP. He would be the league MVP. They would cancel the AL MVP to give it to Mookie Betts. He would win both MVPs. That's how good this guy's been right now. He is out of his world right now. He's batting .377 right now. To put that in contrast, last year, we were absolutely blown away by Luis Reyes from Miami. Why? Because he was batting like .330. We were like, holy crap, this kid's amazing. Mookie's batting .377 with an on-base percentage of 47.1. That means, great one, he is getting on the bag effectively 1 out of every 2 at-bats. That's real good.
That's not bad.
That's very, very good. He has an OPS of over 1.1. That's also very, very good. Another guy I'm worried about. He has not been good lately. But, and I don't think he's this guy, but at the same time, I think he's this guy. Freddie Freeman, former Brave. You don't think Freddie might have a little something saved up for the Bravos? He's been bad. He's been real bad lately. He's not been real bad. Relative to what Freddie Freeman usually is, he's been bad. You don't think Freddie Freeman has got a little something to prove in this game? And then there's just the Dodgers as a whole. Over the last couple of weeks, this team has been real good. Over the past couple of weeks, this team has been hot. Tonight, opening game of this series. This one feels like a big one to me. And it feels like a big one to me because it feels like a tone setter to me. But not just for this 3-game series. If either one of these two teams is able to get a leg up on the other in the regular season, I really do think these two teams are going to be 1-2 for the National League when the season ends. And I really do think I was more confident in Atlanta before Spencer Strider was lost for the season. When Spence was still in 1, when Fried was 2. Because keep in mind, if we're playing it this way, Max Fried is likely going tonight. Charlie Morton, and then I would probably, if he was available, short rest Spencer Strider to go get game 3 and then reset the rotation there. But I think that these games, I'll put it this way. Diesel was saying that baseball right now in the season is meaningless. Even if you believe that, this series is not meaningless because I think you could be at the end of the year in a situation where the Braves have 102 wins and the Dodgers have 101, or vice versa. The Braves and the Dodgers are in a race to 105. And games like this might be the difference maker. Might be where you separate. This is worth a full game when it comes down to it. This is worth as many as 3 full games. Most series in the NL, you're talking about a half game within your division here and there. This is worth a full 3 games over a team that, again, especially if you were talking about the regular season win total, you're going to be racing, I think, to 103. The Braves over-under win total was set at 103. No, 101.5. The Dodgers was at 103. I think it's a race to 103. I didn't touch the Dodgers. I bet the Braves over. Obviously, Spencer Strider makes me a little more sweaty than I'd like to be. But at the end of the year, this is a game that if the Braves miss the best record in the National League by 1 game, and they drop 2 out of the 3, or 3 out of the 3 on the road at LA, they will circle back and go. There was that series back on May 3rd, 4th, and 5th in LA. If we go to LA and we get a couple away from them, we're in the driver's seat. And again, does it matter all that much having to play a wild card? Yeah, it does. We've seen good teams get bounced out of the wild card in the last couple of years. You don't want to have to risk that, even if you do get to host it. It's still scary. I'd rather have a jump straight into the DS in a shorter but easier or not easier series, but a more lengthy series. The longer a series is, the more likely it is that the actual better team wins it. I don't want to have to go into the wild card round if I don't have to. That's why this game is important. That's why this series is important. Because you would like to have the 1 seed. You would like to not have to risk the wild card, because if you're Atlanta, what happens if you bump into Philly in the wild card round? A team that has beat you 2 postseasons in a row. You don't want them there. You want them to go into that wild card round, have a 3-game series, have to wear their pitching out, get thin, and then beat them in the DS when you can throw your ace against their, 3 or 4 slot guy. These are the series that determine how that's going to look. So, what do you need out of Atlanta? I'm going to start with, much like we talked about Freddie Freeman not being great, Matt Olson's got to show up. Matt Olson has been missing in action this year. This is a cat that last year led Major League Baseball in home runs. And it was just his. He was the best power hitter at the dish last year. Do you know how many home runs Matt Olson has right now? 3. Gunnar Henderson has 10. Mike Trout has 10. Tyler O'Neill has 9. Marcell Ozuna has 9. Pete Alonso has 8. So does Ellie De La Cruz. So does Adolis Garcia. So does Kyle Schwarber. So does Juan Soto. So does Kyle Tucker. Matt Olson has 3. Matt Olson is currently right now sitting on an average that is a sneeze above 200. Not 300, 200. In the last 7 games, Matt Olson is batting 182 with 4 hits across 7 games. In the last 15 games, he's batting 102 with 5 hits. In the first 30 games of the season, he's batting 206 with 22 hits across 30 games. That ain't it, man. That ain't it. Got to show up. Ronald Acuna, slow start. Starting to warm up. Got to be good this week. This is a series the Braves have to take so that when the season comes to its end, you're not in a spot where you're losing that wild card positioning and getting the break to the Dodgers by a game, because I think that's how close this race is going to be. Let's take a break. We'll come back. Got a few more things I want to knock out in this hour. The show, The Rob Brown Show, rolls on next. It is the Fan Upstate.
update on the fan upstate. The NASCAR Cup Series will be racing at the Kansas Speedway Sunday. The Advent Health 400, 267 laps around the mile-and-a-half oval. Denny Hamlin is coming up winning silver. He's the defending champion. It's one of 2 races at Kansas. The other will come in the fall as part of the playoff. In golf, the Tiger Woods has accepted an extension.
It just tastes like disappointment.
I think we've all tasted that before.
And you know what it is? It's the fact that I've drank. I've
done drinking it, and it was not very good.
I have been drinking soda, 0 calorie soda, 0 sugar soda, but I've been drinking soda
Baking
for
soda?
so long that this is just it's soda water with a touch of cherry flavoring. And so when you go from a bold soda to soda water, no bueno.
Soda, soda, soda.
Movement is now very slow southbound 85 from Highway 14 to Pelham Road, less than 20 miles an hour in a 2-mile backup. Downtown West Stone Avenue eastbound is locked up from North Main back to Wilson Street. From the News Talk 98.9 WORD Traffic Center, I'm Bill Brooks on the Fan Upstate.
Spring is here, and the best Upstate deal on golf is on sale now. The 2024 Upstate Golf Card gets you a round of golf at 7 premier Upstate courses, and it's only $80. Order at theupstategolfcard.com. 7 rounds of golf for only $80. Upstategolfcard.com.
You know that house on the block with the perfect lawn? Don't you envy them? That's just jealousy getting to you. Be the house on the block that they envy. Just get to CarolinaTopDressing.com and sign up for your free quotes. Since 2007, Carolina Top Dressing has been transforming, smoothing, and nourishing lawns around upstate South.
Bang your head. Mental health will drive you mad.
Trust Carolina Top Dressing with your curb appeal. CarolinaTopDressing.com.
Look around. You can buy cars like these on AutoTrade, like that car right in your tail. Or if you're tailgating right now, all those cars doubling as kitchens and living rooms are on AutoTrader too. Are you working out and listening to this ad at the same time? Well,
Round and round, love find a way to give it time.
okay, no flying cars, but as soon as they get invented, they'll be on AutoTrader. Just you wait. AutoTrader.
Hey guys, don't be that kid without life insurance. But thanks to Ethos, you can be that great dad with life
And
insurance.
then I put in Oh Sheila. Nothing says 80s like Oh Sheila.
Nothing says 80s like oh Sheila. You got to throw him a little hair metal in there.
I am. I just went rat before that.
Round and round, love will find a way. Just give it time.
Well, look at there. We got some Rick Astley.
Never gonna give you up. Never gonna let you down.
Rick Super Freak. Was that 70s or 80s? Doesn't matter. It was one or the other. I'm allowed to put some 70s in there. Can't touch this.
She's a very sexy girl.
The kind you don't
bring
home to mama. Did you bring girls home to mama?
After we went on a few dates. I never really
Did your mom ever go? No.
Oh yeah.
That sounds like a multiple times there.
Yeah, in retrospect, if I could go back and talk to 22-year-old Rob about anything, I'd say, listen to your mom. She's not saying this to make you mad.
Text us at 71307.
Has there been an athlete that you went from loving to hating or hating to loving? And who is it and why? Because it's Joel Embiid for me right now. I was a big Joel Embiid guy. I like Joel Embiid a lot. Time out. Wait. Gotta stop. got to stop because it is starting already. Can't even let me get to the freaking off season. Like, can't even let the trophy get
Why do
handed
you
out.
even care at this point? I don't understand why you're still fighting this.
Let me tell you what this is, people. I want to do that. I'll do it to open up the next hour or whatever. But I got to do this here. And yeah, I'm going to make the show about me for a minute.
Wait, that's never happened before.
I know. I'm a very selfless and giving person. We got one of the big head talking sports shows on the TV.
Oh, I thought you were talking about the person who was talking when you looked at the screen.
Who has a big head.
He does. He has a large skull.
We have a big talking head show on the TV here at the Radio Ranch. And they are talking about Joel Embiid, who is, as of right now, the only former MVP to not make it out of the first round of the playoffs as a reigning MVP. Only reigning MVP to not make it out of the first round. Joel Embiid did indeed have his legacy needlessly damaged. I ran out. I was working real hard there. Had his legacy damaged this postseason. Now, I don't think it's fair because the Knicks are good. They're real good. So I don't think it's a damaged legacy for Joel Embiid in terms of being a great player. I think much like we've done with other teams, you're kind of negating the context of the situation, which is the Knicks are freaking good. But they're doing a breakdown, as you do. You know, they got bumped last night. You do a post-mortem on them today. And that is more than fair. They got, I don't know, do we say his name? Whatever. They got Windy on TV. They got Brian Windhorst up there. And again, for the record, I actually like Brian Windhorst.
Way to go for it, man.
Yeah. I like Windy. I think, now, you know, career path, sure.
I don't, because he has a certain arrogance about him. But that bothers me a little bit.
That's why Lonzo doesn't like me. I like Windy.
That's not true. I love you dearly. I still can't. It counts. Whatever.
Windy is a good dude. Windy's a good reporter. I don't have any issue with him. Except for when he does the same lazy stuff that everybody else does. You know what? It's not even lazy. It actually is, and this is where it's about me. It actually is the right frame of thinking. If you're Philly, you know you need another piece, right? Tyrese Maxey disappeared in certain games down the stretch. Joel Embiid can go score 50 and get you a win, but when he's averaging 33 a game in this series and it's not good enough to get by and you lose 4-2, you need another piece. And here comes Windy, and he's talking about guys that are free agents. There's a handful of guys that could be good free agents this offseason. Ones that I think you want to pay attention to. Tobias Harris could be a free agent. Pascal Siakam for Indy, very good player, got to be a free agent. Hey, LeBron is a free agent. Klay Thompson, playoff P. Paul George, James Harden, Gordon Hayward, DeMar DeRozan, Buddy Hield, all free agents at the end of this year. And what does my guy do? What's he do? Well, they should go get Brandon Ingram out of New Orleans. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm still very sore about Brandon Ingram in the playoffs because I think Brandon Ingram
Wait. He played in the playoffs?
He did. Shockingly, the Pelicans were for a blink of an eye in the playoffs.
I was just talking about him, especially in that last game.
8 points, 4 at the half, 8 at the end. So there's almost a part of me that's like, yeah, take him. He doesn't want to win, right? He don't want to win. He don't want to take over. He don't want to be that guy. But here's where I have a problem. He's not a free agent. And there's this expectation, as there has been for years. Just go ahead and hang on to your hats, kids, because here's what's going to happen. In the next couple of weeks, Zion's going to be good. In the next couple of weeks, we're going to start getting the workout videos. We're going to start getting the practice videos. We're going to start getting the, oh, he's really dedicated this time around videos. We're going to start getting the dunk compilations. And then we're going to have to listen to one particular New York-based screaming personality. Zion needs to be a Knick. He doesn't need to be in no small market team. He needs to be in the best city in the world, New York City. And I'm going to have to listen to an entire offseason about how if Zion wants to be successful, he's got to play for the Knicks. Or, you know, LeBron, if he's going to stay in LA, LA's going to need to do something special to convince him to stay. What if they go get Zion out of New Orleans? You know, the guy we just signed to a contract extension. What if he leaves? I'm so over it, dude. I don't understand how it is that we just keep denigrating smaller teams to the detriment of the league. And to me, it is to the detriment of the league. I was going to do a whole segment here about how Joel Embiid, like I was a big fan coming into the playoffs, and now I'm anti-Joel leaving. One series flipped my entire perspective on Joel Embiid. Don't talk about it. Don't talk about it.
You almost took your eye out. That was scary for a moment.
I am. One segment or one series flipped my entire perspective on Joel Embiid. And now here we go again. It's not even the freaking off season. And I've already got the big media folks, shockingly, I know, based up on the northern portion of the Atlantic seaboard, that are sitting here not talking about the free agents that could come in, again, of which there are a bunch of very good ones, not talking about potential targets. No. I've got them talking about coming in, rating my roster, sending us once again a stock of first and second rounders that aren't Zion, aren't Brandon Ingram, in return for we want your best player and you should give him to us. Why? This is the kind of reasoning that makes everybody hate the Knicks, that makes everybody hate the Lakers, that makes everybody hate the Sixers, that makes everybody hate the Bulls, that makes everybody hate the big market NBA teams. Now, we still watch them. At the end of the day, it's good for the NBA, whether we love them or we hate them, because we watch them. But this is the kind of stuff that makes it just makes it difficult. You are going with my team after the best run they have had in I don't know how many years. Yeah, they fell flat on their own asses at the end of the year. But the best in-season run that we have seen in a very long time in New Orleans. They make it to the playoffs. They get bumped by the 1 seed. Yes, again, they disappointed me. They embarrassed me. Chuck was right. They gave up.
I'm just going to slap the hell out of them right on the spot.
They gave up, and it was infuriating. But it was also optimism-inducing. It built a little optimism. Zion just played a whole season. Didn't get hurt until a little bit of a tweak late in the stretch. You know who else that happened to? Giannis Antetokounmpo. Didn't get hurt till the very, very bitter end. And if he plays, I'm not saying we win the series against Oklahoma City, but I think it's a series. I think they're still active. I think they're probably playing tonight. So a year after all this happened, not a year, a freaking week after all this happens, they go to an NBA segment on this network, and Wendy rips off the bat with, hey, what if you go get B.I. out of New Orleans? Why? Why would he leave? All you're doing is telling everybody that's a Pelican, yo, your team is, and you don't deserve nice things. And that wouldn't be a big deal, except doesn't that kind of make it hard to be a basketball fan? Doesn't it kind of make you feel like you'll never... The reason we are fans of things is because it gives us some hope, some optimism, something to embrace when everything else out in the wide, wide world is on fire and sucks. You at least go, The Buckeyes are a good team this year.
Great team.
The Pelicans, sorry, I didn't mean to disrespect them. The Pelicans are going to be good next year. We haven't even finished this year. I am already looking forward to, hey, Zion just showed he can go a whole year without being hurt. If he can do that and we can get him and keep him healthy going into the playoffs, we load manage him the right way and he's healthy for round one. We got a shot next year. There's hope. There's optimism. And then you get your analysts coming on going, yeah. You know all the things that make you good? They should be in New York. Why? Why are the Knicks more important than my team? Why are the Lakers more important than my team? Is it solely and only because they have big-ass bandwagon fan bases? If that is the case, just shrink the league down. Just have the NBA be the Celtics, Sixers, Knicks, Nets, Lakers, Clippers, and the Bulls. Just have that be the league. If screw Milwaukee, I had really hoped when Milwaukee won their title under Giannis Antetokounmpo, I had really hoped that when Milwaukee won their title, that attitude would change. I had really hoped when Milwaukee won their title that the league would start looking at the smaller teams and going, what do we do to boost them? What do we do so we have more Milwaukees? When Milwaukee won their title, and I don't remember, Zoe, maybe you will. Did it not kind of feel like America adopted Milwaukee? Like we were all Team Milwaukee in the face of all the monsters that are there in and out every single year. It felt like the Bucks were kind of America's team in that run.
It definitely was a change of pace and something we hadn't seen in a really long time.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that was kind of cool.
Like as much as I understand that the Knicks drive television ratings.
I know you keep, do they though? I mean, how many championships have they won in in this century?
The television numbers don't care about that. What they care about is the market. And when the Knicks play, you own the second biggest television market in America, New York City. When the Lakers and the Clippers play, you own the largest television network, television market in the United States, Los Angeles, California. But I think what the NBA misses is that when a small market team like a Milwaukee makes a run, when they are up and punching up against the big franchises, up against the legacy franchises, the big market franchises, dude, like, don't we always kind of pull for an underdog? The only thing that comes close to the amount of love that it receives in sports as a dynasty is an underdog who knocks them off. It's an underdog that knocks them off. And when Milwaukee and Giannis went on that run, it kind of felt to me like America was tuned in. And if all of America has a team that they support, and you're still getting the big market teams because LeBron is still hanging around or Jalen Brunson and the Knicks are still hanging around, it's good for everybody. Why in the hell do we feel the need every single freaking offseason? It's not even the offseason. We haven't even gotten to the offseason for the media talking heads that cover the NBA to immediately start going, what if the big teams raid all the small teams, take all the good players, give them nothing in return, and then we can all be Phillies fans? Now, screw that, dude. Screw that. Let your small market teams have a damn chance. They don't need you to help them be in a tough situation. It's already one. Don't make it worse. Windy, please. Hey, that was a little depressing. I get it. That was a little down, a little slow. We should pick the energy back up. And no one in radio does that better than the great one.
Well, yeah, if you want to hear some energy, we're going to give you some energy right now. No, I'm not going to do the whole thing that way. Not that I couldn't. University of Georgia head coach Kirby Smart is now the highest paid coach in college football after receiving a 2-year extension that runs through the 2033 season. Smart will become the first coach to be paid $13 million this season, pushing him past Clemson's Dabo Swinney, who will make $11 million this season. Toronto Maple Leafs kept their season alive with a 2-1 win over Boston last night. That will force a Game 7 back in Massachusetts. William Nylander scored both goals for Toronto, and goalkeeper Joseph Wall stopped 22 of 23 shots on Golf from Boston. Tonight, Vancouver travels to Nashville with the Predators on the brink of elimination, and Dallas is at Vegas. Make sure you check out our new show, Wire to Wire, this afternoon from 3 to 7. Cole Bryson and Deez will get you up to date on the latest local and national sports news. Great guests, great debate, and a whole lot of fun, and it's all Wire to Wire. My headphones hurt my head. Real world problems, yo. I'm Bill Brooks. Time for me to put away my jacket. That is your last traffic for the week.
I mean, T-Swizzle, you don't think Denver can do it? I'm telling you, I think everybody's fallen asleep on Denver. They did the same thing last year. Now, I don't know if like people forgot about it or
Maybe they're not very exciting. So, I mean,
they're not exciting. That's why they were.
I mean, you ask if people forgot about it. Maybe that's why.
Is switching your wireless service to Total by Verizon easy? And you get unlimited 5G data, $25 a line for 4 lines on the unlimited plan.
It's almost disrespectful.
Almost. It's almost.
Find a store or search Supermint at totalbyverizon.com.
Actually watched a little bit of Impulsive yesterday just because Patrick Mahomes was on there. They don't really ask the hard-hitting questions.
Shocking.
They did it from his house, though, from Patrick Mahomes' house, which is pretty cool. Talked about, I was riding this car, and I was just going to trade it in, and so I got another one. I liked them both, so I just kept them both. Man, that's a hard life. And then he said, oh, yeah, I also have a Ferrari. You know what? That doesn't bother me at all. That guy deserves all that.
Predicting Denver until someone beats them. Yeah, that's exactly what I'm doing. I will believe somebody can beat Denver when somebody beats Denver. And the argument that, well, OKC got the 1 seed, like, okay, OKC had the Jets firing weeks before the end of the season to get there. Denver did what Denver does and turned it on right into the playoffs. That's just how I feel about it.
Hey, Big Daddy, how you doing?
Real good. Corey LaJoy, welcome back. The final hour of the Rob Brown radio program starts now. Ladies and gentlemen, great to have you. I am Rob Brown, the Great Lonzo on the 1s and 2s. Should you wish to be a part of the radio program, there's multiple avenues to do so. The renewal by Anderson of the Carolinas fan phone is open right now. 844-326-3663. 844-FANFONE. You may text us, should you would like to do so, at 71307. Start your text with FAN, F-A-N, FAN, F-A-N, and we will read them on the show. You can also tweet me at The Rob Brown Show. You can tweet the great one at Lonzo on Word, and you can tweet everybody up in here at The Fan Upstate. All the different ways to get in touch with the show, should you choose to do so. We would love if you did. The show's better when you are a part of it. So be a part of it. Also, join us on our live stream, facebook.com/thefanupstate, twitter.com/thefanupstate, The Fan Upstate on YouTube, The Rob Brown Show on Twitch and YouTube. Go find any one of those spots, and you can go behind the scenes, multiple scenes, behind the scenes with the great one and I for all 4 hours, all 5 days of the week. We invite you to do so.
I missed my window.
Which one were you going to go with?
I'm not going to say. I'm just going to leave you guessing.
Been a minute. Let me go back to the conversation that
Someone say it's been minutes.
Let me go back to the conversation that I was going to have in the last segment before Wendy absolutely me off. Is there an athlete?
I don't know if I went with that.
I'm going with it. Is there an athlete that you either loved and grew to hate, or hated and grew to love? I've got one on both sides.
Dennis Rodman.
Rodman?
Yeah.
Genuinely?
Couldn't stand Rodman when he was with Detroit. Then he went to the Bulls, and then suddenly, I grew to love him and love his game. And
did you hate Rodman or did you hate Detroit?
Oh, I hated Rodman because I mean, even amongst where he was, he stood out as being even worse than them. So, I mean, yeah.
So then what changed when he got to Chicago?
He went to Chicago.
It was just being in Jordan's presence?
Yeah. I mean, that guy's a pain for everybody else, but once he becomes your pain.
Oh, you were a Bulls guy at the time.
Yeah. Yeah. When I first started watching basketball, it's because my cousin, she was really into the NBA, and she's like, you got to check out this guy, Jordan, because I hadn't seen it. And then she got me into watching it, and that got me into watching the NBA.
Okay. Fair enough.
So.
Fair enough. And that'll do it sometimes. Just switching a team, you take the mentality from one spot to the next. And it's kind of that attitude of, yeah, when he's over there, he sucks. When he's over here, he's a butthole, but he's our butthole.
Which works more in professional sports than it does in college, I think. Although you better get used to it now.
I was
in
going to
college.
say, it might change.
It used to back in the day, back in the olden days.
Yeah, and again, like I think on that list, I could probably, if I really wanted to, I could probably come up with a list of guys that I absolutely abhorred when they were college players, but when they got to the NFL and they became a Saint, now they're my BFF. They're my bestie. Hard hand emoji. Love this guy now. Joel Embiid is the most recent addition to that list. Love this dude. Enjoyed this guy's ball style. Like, he's going to play through your chest. Classic big man style. He's going to get the ball on the block. He's going to turn. He's going to bang into you 3 or 4 times. And then he's going to go up strong to the rim. And I like an old school 5. And Joel Embiid plays an old school 5 who also has a shot, who can also shoot the ball. But then, for whatever reason, and I know that this isn't the first time, but I think it was one of those things that in times gone by, I was able to overlook the crap of Joel Embiid. I again, the more I thought about it, the more I really am not upset about him calling out 76ers fans for giving up seats at Wells Fargo and turning game 4 and 5. Well, no, they've been game 3 and 4 into what effectively became a home game for the Knicks on the road. And again, I get it. There's a lot of people in New York who are Knicks fans, and the Knicks have been bad for a very long time. And this is the first time in a very long time their team's been good. Philly ain't that far away. Folks in New York got money, so they bought up the tickets. And if you're a Philly fan and a New York fan offers to give you $1,000 for your seat that you paid $250 for, I mean, at some point you got to make a decision, right? As the $1 Million Man once said, great when everybody's got a price. So I get it. I'm good with Joel on that call out, but it's everything else he did in this series that kind of blows my mind, right? Like, it was the pulling people down. It was the needless running elbows, running down the floor. Playing tough is one thing. I like a basketball player who plays tough. Bring back that old gritty 90s ball where guys are banging under the boards and, hand checking up top. Like, I'm good with physical basketball. The problem is that there is a difference between tough physical basketball and dirty play. And I think in this series, Joel got to the point where he was leaning into the other side of it. And I don't like dirty players, man. I never will. I like guys who play the game right. And I feel like this series to me, and I know somebody listening right now is like, Rob, if you just found out Joel Embiid plays dirty, you've been living under a rock for a couple of years. I think I've always kind of given him a little bit of credit for.
See, it would be different if he was on your team that you're rooting for, because that kind of makes you overlook some of this stuff that everybody else is talking about. If it's your guy on your team, you're like, yeah, I don't see it. I don't. Maybe you really do a little, but you're not willing to admit it. It's different when it's a guy on a team that's not your team.
I don't know if the mentality of he's a butthole, but he's our butthole rolls over into a dirty player. I don't love that. A smack talk player, yeah, right? And I'll give you the example, the kind of the flip side of that coin of a guy I could not stand, but then he grew on me. Steve Smith. When Steve Smith was with Carolina and I was not here, I could not stand the guy, man. He talked so much crap and he backed all of it up. He made Saints-Panthers games a nightmare for me for like a lot of years. And I could not freaking stand the guy. And then he got out of the league. Well, he moved on. He did a year in Baltimore or wherever. He moved on. And then I liked that guy. Then I liked that guy a lot. There's a guy on our team, a great one, a former Ohio State horse chestnut football player, Marcus Lattimore. Lattimore is a bleep-talking monster.
Wait. What was his first name?
Marcus Lattimore?
No.
Marshawn Lattimore.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I got all my Lattimores mixed up.
It's okay.
Marshawn Lattimore is a bleep-talk monster, dude, right?
Now we're all thinking of what Marcus Lattimore could have been if he hadn't got hurt. But anyway.
I remember watching that. Marshawn Lattimore is a bleep talk monster and is constantly in dudes' faces to the point that if I can't watch any other Saints game, I'm watching Saints Tampa, even though I hate Atlanta more, because the bleep talk between Lattimore and the Buccaneers wide receiver crew has become a sideshow all its own. If that guy played for Tampa, I would despise him. If that guy played for Atlanta, I would despise him. But he's not. He's a butthole, but he's our butthole. And I like that. I'm all in for that. I don't think that extends to dirty players. And I think that's why I jumped off the Joel Embiid bandwagon. I don't think antics is something I'll follow around. Smack talk, absolutely. Incredible physical play, absolutely. Tough inside defense, absolutely. I'll follow that. I'm all on board. Those are the types of guys I like from other teams. I'm loving Jalen Brunson as a Knick right now. I'm having fun watching Jalen Brunson be an absolute baller shot caller right now for the New York Knicks. Like that guy. But when it comes to the antics, like Joel Embiid, he lost me, dude. He just lost me. It got to the point where it was so obviously dirty that I can't defend it. I can defend it with, well, the boys are banging underneath the glass, and unfortunately sometimes cooler heads don't prevail. And when you got two elite professional athletes that are playing one of the most difficult games to play professionally in this country, and they are getting it after it, sometimes it gets emotionally charged, especially in the playoffs. But this is like, no, dude, you can't do that. You can't be running by a dude and throw the point of your elbow into his chest when you run by him. You cannot have a guy jumping up over you to get a rebound when you're on the ground, grab him by the legs, and threaten to pull him back down to the ground on top of you because you got your feelings hurt because he blocked your shot last time down. Eat the L, move to the next play, bro. Joel Embiid lost me as a fan in these playoffs, and it was unfortunate, to be honest, because I don't think that there are that many guys that play that level of basketball. The dude averaged as a center 33 points in this series against a very good New York Knicks team. 33 points a game he averaged. There aren't many true fives that are getting you 33 a game anymore. They just don't exist. And so to see one kind of get ripped away from me because of his own actions is a bit of a bummer, to be honest with you. Bit of a bummer. So who's the athlete that you either loved and then went on to despise, like Joel Embiid, or who's an athlete that you despised and then went on to love? For me, it's Steve Smith Sr. I'm a huge fan now. Anytime I see a Steve Smith Sr. pod pop up, I'm watching it. Anytime I see he's going to be interviewed on show X or show Y, I'm watching it. The guy's must-see TV because he's fun, he's funny, he genuinely loves talking about football. It's very easy to see that. Like, I like this guy a lot now. Could not stand him as a player. Who is that for you? Wolverine Joe texted the show, said, I'm the other way with Rodman. Loved him in Detroit. Then he got weird in Chicago.
All right. Off the court stuff, yeah, it got really weird with how he dressed and marrying himself and all that stuff. And the Carmen Electra thing, that's not weird.
That's not weird.
That's not weird.
Every dude in America would have been Dennis Rodman if they could.
Yeah, that was not weird. But yeah, he did get a little weird. But when you reach a certain level of stardom, a lot of people have I want to say eccentricities, which I do believe is correctly used. They get a little eccentric. They get a little weird. It just happens.
Every straight dude in America would have lived the same life as Dennis Rodman if it meant that Carmen Electra was a part of it for 10 minutes.
And if you're a cameraman, you had to be careful because you might get a kick somewhere that might cause you to lose your groin.
He kicked a dude in the rocks. Like, he just kicked a dude in the rocks. That was kind of one of those points because I was a Rodman guy, mainly because I was not a great offensive basketball player.
Madcraft on the stream says, dress good, look good, play good.
Hey, I've said for years, look good, play good, win good. I believe it.
Yeah, look at Rob's shirt today. I mean,
look good, feel good, play good, win good.
Living proof.
This is everybody about once a year. I get asked by somebody, why do you spend, specifically at the beginning of football season, why do you spend so much time talking about the drip? Why do you spend so much time talking about the jerseys? Why do you spend so much time talking about the unis? I spend so much time talking about the unis because how you look has a direct impact on how you feel, and how you feel has a direct impact on how you perform. If you like wearing a suit and tie, you're going to be better at your suit and tie job than the guy that wakes up and dreads having to put on a tie every day. Like, it just is what it is. Dennis Rodman was partially Dennis Rodman because Dennis Rodman was allowed to be Dennis Rodman. This is why I have laughed for years at players becoming, when they get to the New York Yankees, for instance, absolute freaking charisma vacuums. When guys that are beloved elsewhere show up to New York and everybody hates them. Why? It's because that team is made up of a bunch of robotic, soulless players. Can't have a beard if you play for the Yankees. Not allowed to have facial hair. As a professional athlete, could you imagine getting signed up for a squad, even if they are paying you tens, if not hundreds of millions of dollars, when they go, and oh, by the way, here's your team-issued Gillette razor.
Yeah, but the thing is, unless you're drafted, you're going there knowing that.
Sure. Doesn't mean I got to like it.
So you choose to go. So there is an amount of money that will cause you to shave your beard.
Oh, hell yeah.
Right.
Hell yeah. And I promise you it ain't nearly as much as the Yankees are paying the least paid guy on the roster right now.
There's an amount of money somewhere that would cause me to go with a buzz cut.
100%.
Yeah.
100%. Again, why you think the $1 Million Man is probably the most quoted wrestler on this show? Everybody's got a price. I'm just saying, from the outside looking in, when somebody makes a decision that we all know that we would make if we had the opportunity because of the amount of money that they got paid to make that decision. Again, I've used the example before. If Live Golf, who I abhor, can't stand him. It's like the third time I've used that word today.
That's the first time you said it right, though.
Yeah, whatever. If Live Golf called me today, an organization I cannot stand, I do not like, I wish they didn't exist. I wish every golfer on that tour would make the collective decision to come back to the PGA Tour. But if they called me today and said, Rob Brown, we want to fly you to the next Live Tour event in wherever it is, and we want to pay you $1 million to call that event. We want to pay you $1 million to be our play-by-play guy. Bye, Felicia. I'll see y'all. I'm on down the road a little bit.
What if you had to wear subdued clothing?
For $1 million? I got to tell you right now, after I'm done with that event and I have $1 million, I'll buy a lot louder shirts than this one. All right? You know what we call people who do that? And you know what I would be if I did that? A sellout. That's what we call you. We don't like sellouts, even though most of us would be a sellout.
So you don't call them capitalist?
Call them whatever you want.
Okay.
I call them a sellout.
Right.
I think America refers to people as a sellout. If you get to a point where you are willing to go against things that you have said and done for years for a certain amount of money, you are a sellout.
I think sellout, just the word is uttered by jealous people.
I don't. I think people absolutely sell out.
Yeah.
I think
No, you're missing the point. People call someone a sellout, they're just jealous.
No, I'm not missing the point. I'm calling you wrong. I'm saying if you spent, here, let me put it this way, great one. If you spent.
That's it. I'm out.
No.
You called me wrong.
Listen, let me make my example. Lonzo do not drink. He ain't a drinker. Lonzo has not drank ever, right? If tomorrow somebody called here and said, great one, I will give you $10 million to take one sip of whiskey, just one, and you took that deal, I mean, I'd be jealous because I'd love to get paid to drink whiskey, but that would be you selling out. And it's irrelevant of my feelings because you took something that you stood proudly on for X amount of years and then you gave it away for money. That is selling out. That has nothing to do with my emotion.
Okay,
I would be jealous.
So what you're saying is most people who call someone a sellout, they don't really know what sellout is.
No, I think most people do.
See, I don't. I mean, the example you gave, that's an extreme example. To me, that's an extreme example.
Of course it is.
But it made your point perfectly. Probably your best analogy ever.
All my analogies are perfect.
I'm just so far. Your best so far.
Make is spot dead.
It's all downhill from now on.
Well, yeah, I'm 39 years old, of course.
No, I was talking about for the
Oh,
analogies.
gotcha, okay.
Yeah.
All right. Robin said, I need to vacate and just never came back. Dude was crazy. Yeah, he was absolutely out of his skull and also the best rebounder I've ever watched play. I love the worm. I love the worm. So who's the athlete? Hit me up on the text line, 71307, 71307. Start your text with fan. Hit me up on the text line right now. Who is an athlete that you either hated and grew to love or loved and grew to hate? Lonzo goes Rob. I go Joel Embiid. Who's yours? Back after this on the Rob Brown Show in the Fan Upstate. I made Lonzo so mad he's leaving.
Yeah. I'm blazing out of here.
Blazing out of here.
I'm blazing out. Me blazing.
All right, guys, give me 45 seconds. I'll be right back.
I've been on that roller coaster before.
It's a roller coaster of hate. Roller coaster of hate.
Say what?
Roller coaster.
So that's not the band you saw last
roller
night.
Coaster. No, that's Ohio Players.
I believe it's Ohio Players, yes. So I was thinking Funkadelics, I think, when you said Grant.
I have seen.
Yeah. Dude, you're not leaving, are you? I was going to say, you've got 45
Nasty
seconds.
soda away. Not even soda. Soda water with
So you
soda
need to
water.
dump it
I
out.
think they just dipped the cherry in it.
I've had some stuff like that too. Something I saw a commercial of, I was like, oh man, that looks pretty good. And I tried it, I was like, I cannot finish it. It's just water, but it's just enough of flavor to make you mad. It's like someone put hard candy in the water.
Yeah.
And dissolved it, thinking it would make it have this, and it's not.
Yeehaw! Sure, why not? Why not?
It is Friday, so why not?
James on the stream said, I loved LeBron in Cleveland. Hated him in Miami. Loved him again in Cleveland. Now, just want him to retire and go away. It's a roller coaster of hate.
What if he comes back to Cleveland?
Roller coaster of hate.
Would you be okay if he came back to Cleveland? Would you suddenly love him again?
Roller coaster of hate, hate, hate.
It's not out of the realm of possibilities. He is a free agent. He can go where he wants.
My hate is like a roller coaster, baby. All right. I mean, I get it. I think a lot, like, I would like you to go, if you don't mind, I'd like you to go deeper than just loved him on my team, hated him on the other team. I'm talking about maybe players that weren't on your team, like players that weren't on your team or on your rival's team, right? Like not just the guy that you loved when he was yours and hated when he wasn't. I'm talking about like me and Joel Embiid. I do not have any feelings for the Philadelphia 76ers, okay? I liked Joel Embiid. I have now seen Joel Embiid at what I believe to be his worst. And
see, I'm trying to think of players I hate. That's pretty easy. Jim Kelly, John Elway, guys like that. But I never changed my mind on them. I can't think of anyone that I've changed my mind on other than Dennis Rodman. I'm not sure. I'm not sure that there is anybody else other than him.
That's fair. Maybe
and
not.
It's really, really hard to go out of the realm of your fandom. I mean, because if you don't like somebody when they're on one team, they don't come to yours, they go to another team, you still don't like them.
There have been no shortage of players that were Saints that I loved that ended up being a Falcon, and then I had to hate them. It was like obligatory hate. I must hate you. You play for the bad people. I don't like you anymore. I'm talking about guys like Embiid. I'm talking about guys like and I'm trying to come up with more examples. I'd like to come up with a couple from a couple of sources. Steve Smith. I mean, Steve Smith did play for a rival. I didn't start liking Steve Smith because he played for my team. I started liking him because once he stopped kicking my team's ass twice a year, and then he became a personality. Now I'm like, that dude's hilarious. I love that guy.
So what did you think about him when he was in Baltimore?
I mean, honestly, I didn't care anymore, right? Like, good for him. Just stop being my nemesis. Stop being a menace to my team twice a year. But I'm going with Joel Embiid. Just made this list. How about Patrick Beverley? Now, I've known for a hot minute that Patrick Beverley is kind of a JA.
I can think of one lady in
really
particular who thinks that right now, I'm sure.
I despite his shenanigans.
Would you consider a basketball a possible deadly weapon?
Thrown by a professional athlete?
Yeah.
She can absolutely make that argument in the court of law. Let's tell people what we're talking
I was
about.
just saying, on the back of the ticket, does it say, I mean, this is different though.
Yeah. Let's talk about what we're talking about here. Last night after the Milwaukee game, Pat Bev, who, again, I've always kind of known that he was a bit of a jerk. But at the same time, lots of guys are bits of a jerk. I actually have friends that are bits of a jerk. And it is what it is.
Yeah, me too.
Just a couple.
So there.
Yeah. I didn't mind it because Pat Bev was a guy that, slept the court, played some defense, whatever. Over the last couple of years. And last night was really just the exclamation point on it. But I really kind of turned away from Pat Bev. I really kind of turned away because he started being kind of a jerk that was like hurting his team. Last night after the L that eliminated the Bucks from contention, Pat Bev grabbed a basketball and threw it at a fan. At a fan. The fan that I think he was throwing the ball at, he missed. It went high, and it, bounced off the side of a lady's noggin, right in the ear. And you see her. She, immediately covers up and leans away from where the hit was. It is pretty bad. And then, and this is the one thing about this video I definitely do not understand. The ball ended up in the hands of the fan that I believe Patrick Beverley was trying to hit. And what did Pat Bev do? He just stared the guy down. And the guy, in the most baffling decision that I have seen made in hot minute, the guy took the ball and he just chest passed it back to Pat Bev. Just kind of, there you go, little arcing chest pass back over. What does Pat Bev do? He reaches back. He puts that thing like a heater, and he goes for round two. And this time, he drills the guy he was aiming for. Drills the guy. By this point, the rest of the Bucks bench realize what's going on. They grab Pat Bev. They pull him to the side. They're like, dude, you're about to get sued for like a lot of money. You should probably stop right now. And the fans had to stop one absolutely shredded roid rage dude in the front row who thought he was going to go scrap with Pat Bev for a minute.
I'm sure he's saying, bro.
What are you doing, bro?
Come on, bro.
What are you doing,
Let me over there, bro. I'm going to take you out, bro.
I wear basketball jerseys with no sleeves, bro.
He's popping it.
You think I'm scared of you, bro? He was like ready to go, dude. Like ready to go. And then in the post-game press conference, in the post-game interview availability, Pat Bev was in front of his locker. And
you subscribe to my pod?
Do I subscribe to you? I do not.
So you can't interview me then. No disrespect.
Well, Jamal is here.
You subscribe? Okay, cool. Yeah. That's
cool. Again, there were a couple times within a bucket or two. In previous games, y'all have been able to kind of get over that hump or maybe.
Okay. So two things happen there.
And he ends up before it's over making her leave.
Yeah. Dude, here's my thing. You know, if you make a joke out of that, that's fine. I had a conversation with Diesel and Cole the other day about the situation with David Tepper up in Charlotte. You know, he went into the bar. The bar had a sign that said, please let the coach and GM draft this year. And Tep and one of his big fellas went into the bar and had words.
Well, you say big, what do you have like a
bouncer, dude?
Like a big nine, the big guy named Joey or something?
Like he had I don't know who the guy was. I don't know who the guy was. I don't know if he was administration or if he had security with him or what.
Yeah, he was administration.
But
going to administrate some beat downs if you don't take that sign down.
He had the guy that was with Tepper.
He's a big ass boy, is what he is. God dang.
Was a big ass boy. God dang. Big fella, right? And Tep goes in there. I told Diesel, I was like, I'm really not worried about this, right? Like, to me, I think Dave was actually trying to, like, make a joke out of it. I think he was just having fun. And I think he is just so disassociated from real life that he doesn't understand how to communicate with anybody who's not a billionaire. I don't think he knows how to communicate with regular people. So, because to me, I think it's funny. If you and I are driving down the road and there's a sign on a sports bar that says the Rob Brown Show sucks, I'm going to walk in there and like have some fun with it. I'm going to go in there and be like, yep, I suck. Now I'd like to buy a beer. And I drop a few pennies at the bar and make a show. I think Tep really was just like trying to have a good time, but he just doesn't understand how to communicate like a human instead of the lizard person that he is. And I think that communication got lost. If Pat Bev at his locker was trying to make a joke out of this, that would be fine. But Pat Bev, you don't get to sit in front of the locker and make jokes at the expense of a female reporter, any reporter really, but a female reporter with a hat on, a beanie on that says belts to asses, when you just went basketball to skull. You don't get to do it. You are in a bad spot right now. You are a jackass who just put it on display to the entire United States of America that you are a jerk and, let's be real, kind of a bad guy, right? This goes beyond guy who talks a lot of smack, guy who plays maybe a little more physical than the rest of the league likes, guy who maybe runs his mouth during press conferences. You threw a basketball twice at fans, not once. You didn't do it once. So I think we've all done a thing where we do the thing and then we immediately go, uh-oh, oops, should not have done that.
Some of us do that daily.
On a reg. But you know what we don't do? We don't go, oops, let's do it again, because that's real dumb. That's real dumb. Pat Bev, you're a bad guy. You're a bad person. And the fact that this woman wanted to give you a chance to talk and you went, oh, you don't subscribe to my pod. Bro, who the hell do you think you are? Who do you think you are? No one cares, my man. So Pat Bev's on the list too. Texas said used to be a big Kevin Durant guy until he started team hopping and making burner accounts to clap back at fans. Yeah, KD lost a lot. KD, I think, was actually like in the LeBron stratosphere of people liking him at that point, and then he blew it. That's a good one. That's a good one. Back after this on the Rob Brown Show. It's the Fan Upstate. I'm not a conflict guy or a confrontational guy, but I think if somebody hit me like that, in an interview, I think I would have pushed them. Yeah, no, I'm not going to do that. Please answer my question. And I would have made you refuse to talk.
Yeah, they have a right to be there, and they're asked to be there. That's a guy who knows he's in trouble, so he just going for it. I'm already gonna be in trouble for this. I'm just gonna go ahead and do this.
For the ones who work hard to ensure their crew can always go the extra mile, and the ones who get in early, so everyone can go home on time. There's Granger.
I'm going to tell you right now, Nolan, if you take a basketball, here's the thing. I'm not big frivolous lawsuit guy, but if an NBA player smacks me in the ear with a fastball of a basketball, I got no problem.
It's time for Tony Khan
Yes,
neck
sir.
brace.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I'd be getting carried out of that building on a stretcher into an ambulance, going to the hospital. I want all the tests. Give me all the scans. Scan my toes. Make sure my toes are good. I'm hurting, Bill. I'm hurting.
Or do you go the opposite and dial 911 and talk about the assault?
I've just been assaulted
on national TV. Could you please come here and arrest the person who did this? I have witnesses.
Nope. I'm going to say in that spot again. I'm not frivolous lawsuit guy, but in that spot, Pat Bev is about to owe me some cash.
Yeah,
money.
but it's not frivolous because it was downright assault.
Yeah, for sure.
Or battery. It was downright battery. He probably had something to say too, so it was probably assault and battery.
Oh, he's definitely chirping back at him. Do you subscribe to my podcast? What a dork. You're not Draymond guy. Do you subscribe to my podcast? If you don't subscribe to my podcast, you can't listen to the show anymore, man. What a dork.
It's also very random. How's he know? I mean, what? Do you only have like 10 subscribers so you know that she didn't? Maybe something else going on there.
No, he's just a big dork. That's all. He's just a loser, man. Like the list of athletes that have made the list of people that I am happy to just outright call a loser. Who's rich? I don't care.
You just made the list.
I don't care. He's a loser. When you start chunking heaters into the crowd and plugging female fans in the side of the dome with the basketball and then asking for the basketball back so that you can do it again. And then when you are given the opportunity by a reporter to speak on it, to talk about it, to talk about, oh, by the way, the fact that you just lost the series and are doing this, bro. And you hit her with, do you subscribe to my podcast? No. All right, well, then you're not allowed to. Yes, I am. You're damn right I am. I am in this locker room. I have a press pass. I have been credentialed by the team. If you don't want to answer any questions, that's fine. I'm still going to ask him. I have told you, I'm not a conflict guy. I avoid controversy to the best of my ability, unless somebody's acting like a real butthole. And then they're going to get all the smoke. And that's what Pat Bed did last night. That was absolutely embarrassing, man. Absolutely embarrassing. All right. Got a couple more things that I would like to get into before we get up out of here for the day. We mentioned it earlier. Bravos and the Dodgers start a 3-game set tonight. that is going to start at 10 p.m., which means it's going to be a late night and a late morning for your boy Rob Brown, because I am watching 9 innings of all 3 games. This is a big one. But there was another baseball story going around as Bally Sports. Is it Bally or Bally Sports? I don't have it, so I don't know. I think it's Bally Sports, right?
I think so, yes.
I think it's Bally Sports. Bally Sports channels are not on Comcast anymore. If you are a Comcast customer, you are now unable to view Bally Sports, which means that you can't watch the Braves.
I was going to ask you who's on Bally Sports. And yeah,
MLB teams, this is very interesting. MLB teams sell their own television rights. Now, obviously, MLB gets first right of refusal as far as putting their games on ESPN and whatever other channels are going to carry their games. So if you get if you get drawn up to be on Sunday Night Baseball one weekend, Bally can't have that. But considering most teams are playing 6 games a week, 7 games a week, MLB teams sell the rights to their own games. And a lot of them over the past couple of years have started selling the rights to Bally Sports or Diamond Investment Groups. You may have heard this before. Diamond Investment Groups. And they could not reach a deal with Comcast to keep their programming on Comcast. Comcast is a linear outlet. There are linear outlets and there are virtual outlets now. This is a linear outlet. Diamond Sports Group has secured multi-year deals with its 2 largest distributors, Charter and DirecTV. It was hoping to secure a deal with Comcast ahead of a June confirmation hearing in bankruptcy court that would have gone a long way to bailing them out of trouble, as not having a deal with all 3 of the top 3 television distributors, Charter, DirecTV, and Comcast, would make it very hard for them to pay off the debts they have in their bankruptcy hearing. The 12 teams that are owned by that have their TV rights owned by Diamond and by Bally Sports are Minnesota, St. Louis, Detroit, Miami, Cleveland, Kansas City, Cincinnati, Los Angeles Angels, Texas, Tampa Bay, Milwaukee, and Atlanta. So if you're a fan of one of those teams and you have been relying on regional coverage via Bally Sports and you're a Comcast guy, you don't get no baseball unless you just switch over to another service at this point. Now, I will say that I believe some Bally's games are carried on YouTube TV, so it's not like it's completely inaccessible, but it does go back to something that we have been talking about for a very long time. No one in America feels like they want to make their product as difficult to consume as Major League Baseball does. Like, no one. And I get it. The owners of the clubs are never going to vote, as they would have to give away their television broadcast rights. They would never say, yeah, we're going to let baseball handle this. They want to be able to sell it to the largest yet most regional networks that they can. And that was, for a hot minute, Bally Sports. That's why back in the day, the Braves were on TBS every day, because TBS exclusively owned the rights to Major League Baseball's Atlanta Braves. And so they could, if they wanted to, put every freaking Braves game on TV. They went with Bally. Bally was bad. Diamond was bad. They go through bankruptcy, and now we're in this spot where if you are a Comcast fan, I'm not supposed to tell you, so I'm not telling you that there are sites out there that you can go pirate games off of. But if you want to watch the Braves, that's your only choice. You can do that, or you can go listen to them somewhere on the radio. That's it. That's the game. And it stinks, man. There are 12 Major League Baseball teams where I would guess at least, if not more than a third of fans that live within that region can't watch their team. I don't know about you, but that would frustrate me like a lot. Why in the world is it that baseball continues to make it? And again, I know that this is on Diamond. I know this is on Bally's. I know that this is on a network. But how is baseball not coming up with a plan to handle this? How is baseball not coming up with a way where they can make sure that hometown fans who can't make it to every game, because there's a lot of games, can watch their games at home? Again, last year when the bankruptcy thing started, some of the teams that were on Bally's, I know Arizona was one. I want to say the Dodgers were one. There were at least a couple. When Bally's went bankrupt and declared last year, MLB.TV picked up those games. MLB.TV started to put those games that got lost to Bally's when they were not broadcasting at the time on their digital platform, and fans of those teams could at least go watch those broadcasts there. And that was a big deal. That was a real big deal. Now, they don't really got that, right? They don't really have that at that point because these rights are still held by Bally, and Bally would, because they are actually able to broadcast the game, even if they don't go on Comcast or whatever else. It would create a lawsuit between the MLB franchises and that network. And it's a lawsuit that they would absolutely lose. Without a doubt, they would absolutely lose it. I just don't get how, after going through this for the past 2 years now, baseball isn't working on coming up with a plan that allows the teams, the franchises, to still own their distribution rights, but puts into place a contingency plan for the fans in case something goes wrong. Like, the biggest television distributor of Major League Baseball can't put their games on Comcast, an organization that about a third of America uses. Not great, Bob. Not great. Not good. Texas said, I've yet to catch a game live on TV this season. At this point, I think I'm going to boycott the season unless I get to a stadium once or twice. Yeah, listen, I know a lot of people, a majority, maybe. I don't think a majority. A lot of people. I think a lot of people don't watch baseball until after the All-Star break. Lonzo's made this point before. Diesel's made this point before. There's 162 games. One game on May 3rd. And I'll tell you right now, I'm not at a point, with the exception of games like this weekend, Braves-Dodgers, where I'm absolutely skipping everything to watch all three of them. Outside of this series, there's not really many games where I'm like, babe, don't plan nothing tonight. I'm watching a Braves game, right? If I'm on, if they're on and I'm at the house and I'm not doing anything, then yeah, I'll tune in. I'll watch, I'll listen, I'll do whatever I need to do and pay attention, have it on in the background, enjoy it for good baseball, whatever. I'm not prioritizing it over everything else. I will when we get to August. When we get to July, August, I will absolutely prioritize it. But this is the kind of stuff that baseball has the problems with. When you make it so tough to get to your product that people ignore it willingly, how are you supposed to grow?
Look at that. Already time for What the X on this Friday morning. Yeah, it's morning. All right, the first thing that's Xing is Seth freaking Rollins.
Seth freaking Rollins successfully underwent surgery.
Well, he did that as far as we know, but he is now re-signed with the WWE.
Okay. Checks out.
So a couple of big re-signings this week so far.
There were a lot of questions about whether or not Seth and the man, Becky Lynch, might decide to take some time and jump from the company to go do something else somewhere else. But the reality is there is nobody better positioned in the game right now than those two, right? They're trusted. They're consistent. They're comfortable. We need a transition women's champion. Put it on Becky Lynch. We need something to happen in the men's. Throw out Seth Rollins. Let him be the wild card. Yeah, makes sense.
All right, D. Next thing that's Xing is Joe Hendry.
All right. So Joe Hendry is another professional wrestler that apparently put out a song that he played live on a TNA show last night. And now, from what I saw earlier, that song is actually charted on Spotify right now.
Oh, it's number one.
It's number one on Spotify.
Yes, it's number one on Spotify.
He played a cover of Creed's Higher. And instead of saying, "Can you take me higher?" he sang to the artist formerly known as Top Dollar, who is now in TNA, "Can you please get fired?"
It's really good. I don't know if that's the particular song that's charted, but a song from him has charted. I'll check it out after the show to find out if it's that one. But that song was pretty good. It really was. Out of all the people who jump in the ring and play guitar,
best so far.
Yeah, it was really good.
Dwayne.
Too bad about that final boss.
Professional wrestling is cool.
All right, the next thing that's Xing is Bruce Wayne.
Bruce Wayne is all right. So Bruce Wayne, Batman's first comic dropped on this date in 1952.
So from what I can tell, it's one of those internet things when people say this particular one was the best
who's the best Bruce?
Who's the best Bruce Wayne?
Gotcha.
Yes.
Gotcha. Who's the best Bruce Wayne?
Come
on, man.
It's Michael Keaton, but Michael Keaton's not the best Batman to me, but he is the best Bruce Wayne.
I was gonna say, I said who's the best Bruce Wayne?
Yes.
Robert Pattinson.
We haven't seen enough of him as Bruce Wayne though, because the majority of that movie he was Batman.
Listen, we all know it's George Clooney. Okay.
Yeah.
It's George Clooney. It's George Clooney.
Oh, the groan in the theater when he came out at the end of Flash. It was pretty bad. I'm guessing you still haven't watched Flash,
I
but so I don't care if I spoil.
Bat nipples.
Flash changed everything. So when he comes back, a bunch of things have changed, and there's Bruce Wayne. He gets out of the car and it's George Clooney. The theater was very unhappy. They were.
You know what?
Riotous.
Listen, screw that theater. Screw everybody. I love those movies. I loved those movies. I loved the over-the-top Tim Burton,
Holy
neon
Rusted
and dark,
yeah.
Holy Rusted Metal Batman.
Yeah, it's
What,
no,
Robin? No, look, it's Rusted Metal, and it's full of holes.
It's full of holes.
It
yeah.
was so bad that I and by the way,
and the back credit card,
oh,
the
dude.
Nipples. There were so many.
Bat nipples.
The cars were pretty sweet, and I kind of like
Tommy Lee Jones, completely uninvested in that movie, but being Two-Face anyway, was so good. I love that movie.
Yeah. Okay. All right. And yeah, I loved it too. I'm not gonna.
Thank you.
Kiss from a Rose, man. Kiss from a Rose. Whenever you think of that song, that's from one of those movies. The last thing that is Xing is Free Comic Book Day, which is tomorrow. So go out to your local comic book store and get multiple free comic books, including Borderlands comics and games. Go check them out.
Tell Rob Brown sent you. He'll talk baseball with you for hours. For hours. He loves it.
Oh, yeah. Also,
and if you see Lonzo, he said he is accepting hugs tomorrow. He already said it once. Can't take it back. No takes it back.
May the 4th be with you, Rob, since in case I don't see you
want to do
tomorrow.
it tomorrow? Tomorrow, I'm going to watch the Greenville Symphony Orchestra play the soundtrack to A New Hope along with A New Hope. We're going to watch the movie, but the symphony's going to play the soundtrack live. I have not been this excited in a very long time. Very long time. Hey, that's it for us. The show's over. The week's over. Y'all have a lovely weekend. Don't drink and drive. I'll punch you in the face. We'll see you back here Monday to do it all over again, but better on the Rob Brown Show and the Fan Upstate later. Yeah! I don't know if it's the headphones or the adapter, but like these, the sound is quality, but it's almost like, and they're noise canceling headphones. So I'm wondering if...
Are you used to hearing your voice through your headphones? No, I mean your actual voice going through.
Say, and that might be it. But even the theme show sound, it sounds like it's dulled. It sounds like it's coming through something as opposed to like MP3 quality. All right, dudes and dudettes, that is it for us. We gone. Y'all have a lovely weekend.
We'll be back Monday. We're just gone for today. Your dismissals always seems final, which is lights out, dude. We good.
Okay. Sweet. Dope. Y'all have a great weekend. We'll see you back here on Monday. Goodbye. Nope, that's the wrong one. That one. Bye.